Welcome back. Episode 202 of the Hockey Cards Gongshow podcast. My name is Josh. I'm here with Troy. I'm here with Phil.
It's a Gongshow Super Show.
There you go. Yeah. Money go out. We're putting our money to good use.
Yeah, best money we spend. We're gonna go
for
broke
sure
on
it totally is.
On stuff like that, but that's okay. I'm in full rage mode. Got to be honest. Start the show right off the bat. I was telling Phil before we started recording that I don't want to come off. People have bad days for really good reasons, right? Like bad stuff happens. Nothing in my life today is bad in a way that's meaningful, just irritating. And I've literally had the day from hell, though. All that being said, so I was up north for the 4th of July weekend at the cabin. Love to do. Favorite time of year. Favorite place to be. And we had a time to record today. Well, we're 2 hours past that now. For reasons I'll get into right now. So this morning, my father reminds me, he's like, well, today is the worst travel day of the year. And it's like, oh, good call, man. So I began plotting and it was already checking out the road situation. Come down 35, which really goes from Minnesota, Troy, right? All the way down to Dallas, essentially, right? Basically splits the United States in half. And it was already getting a little squirrely. So I began to plot my routes. And then I let the family know that, okay, we're leaving at 11:30. It's got to happen. We got to leave at 11:30, get plenty of time to get home, get unpacked, chill out, get in a good podcast frame of mind, right? Ready to go with the show and pack in the car. You go in and out of the cabin and somebody, I don't want to blame it on anyone in my family, but at one point when the doors open, Puppy gets loose.
Oh, jeez.
Puppy is amazing. Kobe is amazing. He's the best dog. There's two things he does, and both these happen that are not good. Number one is he does everything sweet. He has no concept of the notion of come. So when he gets away, good luck. He basically has to get tired and want to come back and go to sleep in the house. That's when he comes back. So he gets out and he darts, just takes off. And there's 5 of us out there trying to wrangle him. And then neighbors' dogs get going. And it's 20 minutes, 25 minutes. Now remember, we have a time we have to leave in order to hit the traffic at the perfect time in order to minimize any congestion and get back in time for the show. Well, that kind of is blown out the window. Finally, at the neighbor Beaner's, the guy's name is Beaner. He's a nice guy, and the whole name is a different story for a different day. Beaner has 3 huge golden retrievers, and we're kind of dodging that bullet. Kobe's darting in and out, weaving in and out. And Beaner also has an amateur chicken farm. He has chickens everywhere, chicken coops. And Kobe makes his way into a chicken coop. Now, initially, we're all this is good. And my dad goes and closes the chicken coop right away to lock him in. But then that's where the second thing Kobe does bad is he likes to roll in gross stuff.
Oh boy!
And now Kobe is inside of the chicken coop, and he somersaulted to and rolled around and rubbed it in, and so we did get him, but it was so.
You had to give him a bath.
Yes, then you had to give him a bath, and then you have a wet dog, and we brought my daughter's friend, so we're in my little car, and we have wet dog. We're an hour past when we're supposed to leave, and the roads are a mess. Because it's the busiest traffic day of the year. Yeah. Everyone's coming from cabin back down to the Twin Cities. But I'm planning. I had my son drive because I'm I'm going to navigate this. I'm going to find the country roads. And we're going to bypass. We're going to wave at all the people that are stopped on the highway. We're going to outfox the fox, right? Well, apparently, many people tried to outfox the fox because the country roads that go alongside the freeway that was stopped were parking lots as well.
It's because everyone just puts their destination in Google or whatever mapping,
Waze or whatever it is,
and they all map them the same way. Then it's
everyone's got a plan until you get punched in the face, Josh.
Yeah.
You got punched in the face.
So the 4.5, 5-hour drive turned into 7.5.
Oof.
And then plus the hour late start. So again, I was supposed to have a ton of time, and then I was so crabby, and I wanted to respect your guys' time and be ready to the show. And I kind of hit the oh crap, don't talk to dad mode.
Oh boy.
Let's just let him be. And I was just looking straight ahead and wasn't talking to anyone. But we survived. We made it back. A little frazzled, but
Was it a quiet
had to
car
bear.
ride, Josh, or was the music loud? Right, you know, and the tensions there.
Everyone has their AirPods. And then I don't know if you guys have this too. Like when we go on car trips, everybody's AirPods like constantly connect to everyone else's phone. So it's like you'll be listening to a podcast or something like that, like listening to the Hockey Cards Gongshow podcast, maybe.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden I'll hear like my 18-year-old's like hip hop where it's every horrible word in like a 4-second span. And then so we're constantly like fighting Bluetooth. Apple's not really good at that yet. But yeah, so that was my day. How are you guys doing?
Super duper. How are you?
Right, you go back today, or wait, Phil, you go first.
I had a very vehicle insurance type week. I got my truck got schmuckered 5 weeks ago. I was at a red light, and I've never had an accident in my life. And I was at a red light and got hit at about 80, 90 kilometers behind me. Like, what's that, 50, 60 miles? I don't know.
162-ish. I think it's 100 kilometers.
Okay. Well, it was hard. And I dropped Hasselhoff at school. I got schmuckered behind me by a student transport minivan, and he completely totaled his minivan. Airbags deployed. Total fiasco. I thought my truck was fine, but I brought it in for my mechanic to look at, and he bent the frame. So they wrote my truck off that I bought last 10 months ago for $24,000, and the first offer insurance gave me on Monday of last week or Tuesday of last week was $14,000, and I thought I was being pranked by somebody. Long story
Do they
short,
have gap insurance in Canada?
they do have gap insurance. I did not purchase it upon purchasing of my vehicle. I should have, because it's a work vehicle, right? So every day I don't have my truck, I'm not working. It was just a nightmare. So they went up to 17. Then they didn't understand things like 8-foot beds. They think a pickup truck's a pickup truck, and I had to fight for my case. So I got 20 back. And here's the kicker, though. The check's not coming for 7 to 10 business days, and they told me I had to have the rental back by Wednesday. So that was, I don't know how that works. They don't believe the commercials. They're not accurate. They don't care.
They're not on your side.
No, they're not. I had to fight for everything. So I have a few trucks, banger work trucks. So I drove that for a few days, and I went and bought a new truck, and picked it up yesterday. Pretty happy. So that not being at fault has cost me over $10,000.
Nice.
That's
fun.
Yeah. Okay. One more question for you though.
Go ahead.
Is Canada Day as big of a deal as the 4th of July is in the U.S.?
No, not even close.
Okay.
Not even close. I'm very patriotic. I'm proud to be Canadian. There's definitely a subgroup of proud Canadians, but just you don't see Canadian flags on people's lawns like you do in the States. You know, you just don't. No, and that's from the videos I've seen. I went to Florida when I was 12. That's my only experience with America. But everything I see, you're a very patriotic country. You're proud of the red, white, and blue, and you have decent knowledge of your history. 90% of Canadians wouldn't know who our first prime minister is. Shots fired! Shots fired if it's true. Yeah. All
right, Troy. So you drove back today too from 4th of July family shenanigans, right?
Yep, family shenanigans down in Iowa. My drive was long, or 4.5 hours, but that was it. No traffic. Down there, what do we do? Fireworks. Went to an arena football game, the Iowa Barnstormers. That was fun.
Really?
Yep. Went to a minor league baseball game, the Iowa Cubs, which was awesome because they won on a home run in the bottom of the 9th. So that was great. And the Barnstormers game was fun, but they got whooped. But my son got a glove from a player, and some of his cousins got some stuff from players too, because they let you go on the field afterwards. Because there's like, I don't know, 2,000 people at this game inside, and they just afterwards everyone goes on the field and you can run around and the players come out and sign autographs. So that was fun.
Is arena
you go
football...
to a card shop too?
I did go to a card shop.
Okay, well, you talk about what's your arena football question, Phil?
Is arena football popular in America?
No.
Oh, okay.
I think there was a point in time where it was pretty popular, but I mean, this game we were at, the team was bad. They're like 4-9 or something. There was the upper deck's blocked off or curtained off, and it's in like a hockey rink. And a big place. The place probably seats 15,000, and there wasn't that many. I mean, the lower bowl was scattered people around.
So you're going for hits, right? Like you're going to see big tackles and quick play. Is that
Yeah, it's quick. I mean, this final score was like 70-40 or 50 or something. I mean, there's tons of scoring.
I always think of it like Starship Troopers when they play their little football game.
Oh,
in
yeah,
that movie. Yeah, that's what I think arena football's like.
Yeah. There's some passionate fans there. I mean, half the crowd, or not half, there's one guy screaming as loud as possible that they need to fire the coach. So that was fun.
Passionate.
Barnstormers is a pretty awesome name.
Yeah, and their helmets are like gold with the aviator goggles on the front of them.
Cool.
Oh, nice.
They're pretty
Okay,
sweet.
well, tell me about the card shop. Was there anything good? Or
No, there's nothing good. It was way overpriced for hockey. It was almost silly. So I kind of walked in, looked at some binders they had, which were nothing great. Looked at their cards and laughed at the pricing and walked out.
Am I stealing a bit by asking if the thing you found that you sent me a picture of?
What I send you of? Oh, the Dollars to Donuts game.
Yeah, he found a board game, Dollars to Donuts.
Yeah, I went to me and my daughter went to a comic/game shop down there, like board games, and it was in the co-signed area, like where they'll take games from people and sell them for them. And there was one called Dollars to Donuts, so I took a picture of it. I didn't look at it.
Should I get royalties from something like that? You guys think? Do I need to call my attorney? What's going
look
on?
it up. You can probably buy it on Amazon.
It should be donuts to dollars because donuts to me are worth more than dollars. So donuts to dollars.
We don't have to rehash this again.
All right, sorry.
Well, we don't have to go. Don't make me pull up Wikipedia.
I'm a contrarian.
You are. Okay, lot to get into today. Another big super show. Glad to have Phil back. Really quickly, though, before we get started, a reminder that our show, the Hockey Cards Gongshow podcast, is a Patreon podcast. What that means is we rely on supportive listeners like yourself to help us cover our show expenses, continue to produce more and hopefully better hockey card content, and then fund initiatives, even in a small way, to grow the hockey hobby. Very easy to support us. You can be one of our first 199 supporters ever. Get that title. Don't ever lose it. This is it starts at $5 a month, so we think hopefully pretty cheap. And you also get exclusive access to the Gongshow Discord server, where you can join the amazing community we have there and chat with us every day. It's very easy to do. You can go to our website, hockeycardsgongshow.com, click on the Become a Patron link at the top of the page, or go to Patreon's website directly, patreon.com, and search for Hockey Cards Gongshow. There's a link in the show description if you're listening to us on a podcast app or watching us on YouTube. And then finally, in our Instagram and TikTok profiles, we have a link there too. We have one new Patreon member and member of our Discord, TL Hockey Cards, joined out of 199. We appreciate you very, very much. Thank you for your support. And with that, Troy, you ready with the game plan?
I am. On today's show, you're going with the almost greatest NHL player to wear number 2. Then we bring back a segment, I guess. We've done this in the past, but it's the social roundup segment. I always like those. Next is hobby news, followed by a look at why are new cards still so stinking imperfect. Next is what creases Phil's corner. I know Phil's excited for that one. Everyone's excited for that one. We end the show with new product releases, the Gongshow Mailbag, and any personal pickups. And just a hint, Josh informed me, largest mailbag ever. This episode
Record mailbag.
finally took over as the largest one ever. So we'll have lots of questions at the end. Okay. Previously, we looked at the greatest NHL player that wore the number that matched our episode number. We ran through all the numbers. So now we're looking at the almost greatest NHL player to wear each number from the runners up in the Hockey Writers Greatest NHL Player to Wear Each Number article. The almost greatest NHL player to wear number 2 per the nominees in the Hockey Writers Greatest NHL Player to Wear Each Number article, and selected by me, is this guy, Doug Harvey.
Who's number 1? Oh no, Brian Leach.
That's what they said.
They're wrong. Okay,
I have to go at it's the bit. Like I cannot deviate from the bit. I get to pick the almost greatest runner up.
Okay, but we'll stick a pin in that, Phil, because we'll get your rebuttal to the Hockey Writer before we're done. And the one thing I was going to say too about that is because I sort of got a little cross-eyed there too, and it's so hard to compare eras, right? To compare the era Doug Harvey played with Brian Leach anyways. I don't know how you'd pick out the better player, but we'll let you go on, Troy.
Yeah. So the other runners up at number 2 were Eddie Shore and Duncan Keith. And as a reminder, Phil gave it away. The greatest story number 2 is Brian Leach.
Sorry.
So there it is. No, it's hey, Brian Leach was. Let the debate begin. Okay, let's talk about Doug Harvey, defenseman from Montreal, Quebec, Canada. Harvey played minor league hockey in Oxford Park, then began his professional career with the Montreal Royals of the Quebec Senior Hockey League, where he played from 1945 to 1947. Harvey would next play 1 season with the Buffalo Bisons of the AHL. Harvey then made the Montreal Canadiens in the 1947-48 NHL season to begin his NHL career. Remember, there was no draft back then. They were kind of just found and put on teams, but that's how he ended up with the Montreal Canadiens. Harvey played in 1,113 regular season NHL games over a 19-season NHL career. Harvey played his first 14 seasons with the Montreal Canadiens, followed by 3 seasons with the New York Rangers. Next, it was 1 season with the Detroit Red Wings. Harvey finished his NHL career with 1 season. I put Detroit. I screwed up somewhere in there. It's not Detroit. I'll have to look that up in a bit. For his awards and accomplishments, he's a Hall of Famer, 6-time Stanley Cup winner, 7-time Norris winner.
That's it?
Yeah, that's it. He's second all time. I think Bobby Orr had 8 maybe. 7-time Norris winner, 10-time NHL first All-Star team selection.
That's got to be a record, huh? Or
I don't know,
Gretzky, maybe more.
Yeah, I think Gretzky probably had more, but maybe not. It's crazy because back then, remember, you only had. I mean, Gretzky had a lot more competition technically with how many teams. 1-time NHL second All-Star team selection, 13-time NHL All-Star game selection, named to the top 100 NHL players to ever play in the NHL by NHL.com in 2017. For his career, 88 goals, 452 assists for 540 points. Harvey made the playoffs in 15 of his 19 NHL seasons, compiling 8 goals, 64 assists for 72 points in 137 NHL playoff games played.
Can I ask a dumb question?
Ask a dumb question.
Which for me is just asking a question. But in the original 6 era, did everybody make the playoffs?
I would assume so.
That's a good question. I never thought of that.
Or did it like the top 4? Because I started to get impressed. Wow, made the playoffs 15 out of 19 years.
Yeah, I'm sure. But he was with Montreal, so they were, that was kind of where they were good. So, and I'm going to correct myself. So his last season was with St. Louis.
Ooh,
that was his last.
That happens to be a lot of people's last season. You ever notice that?
That's a good point. Yeah,
it is. They always end up in St. Louis. So, okay, so someone let us know. I'm going to guess they all did, right? You'd have them all make it, right?
I would think so. I mean, if they all make it, there's still 4 rounds, is there not? Oh, well, not the Leafs. The Toronto Maple Leafs have never won 4 rounds in playoff hockey, or the last year they did was like 31, 32. Toronto Maple Leafs.
No, I don't think they ever did because it was 2. I think there were only 4 teams.
Really?
Toronto had only won 2 series in a playoffs, even when they won the Stanley Cup.
I thought it was 3 when they won the cup. Was it like 68 years ago?
But there'd have to be 8 teams to have 3 rounds.
Okay, fair enough. Yeah, it's bad either way. It's really bad. Go ahead, Troy.
All right. Okay. Best regular season. I got to talk about this picture for a sec. Look at these gloves. I love them. They're like just massive. Like those hot dogs on his hands, man. Those things are huge.
You know what those kind of remind me of? The Nintendo glove. Am I completely
Power glove?
Yeah.
The wizard, Fred Savage.
Yeah. All right. So best regular season of Harvey's career from a point standpoint was his 56-57 season, where Harvey had 6 goals, 44 assists for 50 points in 70 games played with Montreal. Okay, Doug Harvey is regarded by a lot of pundits as the greatest defenseman to play in the NHL, not named Bobby Orr. Harvey is known as the best setup man of his time and perhaps the best defensive defenseman ever. Harvey's skating was effortless and he was physical while not being cheap. I read about Eddie Shore. It sounded like Eddie Shore was not a well-liked man. He would thug people. It was pretty funny reading about him. Harvey was also a master with the puck and rarely turned it over, which allowed Harvey to control much of the game. Harvey's stick handling, ability to take the puck off opposing players' sticks, and pinpoint passing made him one of the most dangerous defensemen of all time.
Okay,
All
Phil, I have some questions about Doug Harvey for
Yeah.
you, just as a
Ask
Canadian.
away for Phil.
Okay.
So what I would say, and Troy, you got to agree or disagree with me here.
Okay.
I would say, other than Mitch Grotman and us, after we started the show, I don't think any American has ever heard of Doug Harvey. Had you ever heard it?
Yeah, of course.
Right?
Well, I'm a diehard, like any diehard NHL fan. You kind of think like, oh, Bobby Orr is the greatest defenseman, but he's kind of not, right? Like Doug Harvey takes that title for me, like hands down. I've known that name since I've been a little kid. Every old Montreal fanatic that watched old game, Doug Harvey is always in the conversation of. Troy said it best. He controlled the game. I've never seen him play. I've never seen him play live, of course, but he was a true natural defenseman, controlled the game. Look at his stats. Goals compared to his assists. I mean, that just shows you, right? So he is a household name if you watch hockey. If you're a fair weather fan, no, you have no idea who he is.
Okay, so he does have really good name recognition, or pretty good.
Absolutely. Okay. Yeah.
Do you agree with me, Troy, that here that in America hardly anyone knows who he is?
I would guess, yeah, it's probably, in America, here's the sad thing. When you think of Doug Harvey, they probably think more of the baseball umpire that umped in Major League Baseball forever.
Oh, yeah.
There was a ump named Doug Harvey. I mean, hockey people, I'm assuming know him, but yeah, a lot of people probably do not know Doug Harvey's name.
He's a Montreal legend. I mean, but I was born in Montreal. I was raised in Montreal till I was 10. So I might have some biased answers here, but yeah,
and I think that was the way he was presented to us when we first learned about him, is that he was Bobby Orr before Bobby Orr.
Yeah. Yeah. But without the I don't know him to be an offensive juggernaut. He just set plays up, broke out of his zone well. Calm, cool, lots of poise.
Oh yeah, definitely wasn't offensive. He was defensive defenseman all the way. And
gotcha.
Here,
well,
I was gonna say, while you guys were talking, I looked it up. The 53. I just went for 53. The Stanley Cup Finals. There was 4 teams in there. So the playoffs, 4 teams made it. So we're gonna say not everyone made it.
Okay. So it's like when Bobby Orr came in the league, they probably said, "You can't do that. You got to play like Doug Harvey. You got to, that's kind of that next step." Yeah.
All right. So after retiring from playing, I love this stamp. This is a great stamp. Harvey became head coach of the Laval Saints of the newly formed Quebec Major Junior Hockey League. However, he only coached 16 games before leaving the team, finishing with a record of 4 wins and 12 losses. Offered a role as an assistant coach with the Los Angeles Kings of the NHL. He went there, serving out the rest of the season with the team. In 1973, Harvey was hired as assistant coach and scout by the Houston Aeros of the upstart World Hockey Association. Harvey was let go by the team at the end of the 73-74 season, so his coaching career was not the greatest. Unfortunately, Doug Harvey had battled alcoholism and bipolar disorder for years, passed away in 1989 due to cirrhosis of the liver. Not fun.
No,
you wonder if those demons affected his coaching, but
they did. It started. So they said he always, or the stuff I was reading, he always drank, but it never became a problem until later life, is what it said. And then stuff just didn't go well. So unfortunately, took his life, which stinks. For the fun, interesting facts about our boy, here you go. So last episode we were talking about Toe Blake and how he did not like Jacques Plante wearing a mask. So legendary hockey coach Toe Blake, who also witnessed the likes of Paul Coffey and Bobby Orr play, once said of Harvey, "As far as I'm concerned, Harvey, far and away the best defenseman ever." There you go. Hates goalies wearing masks and thinks Doug Harvey's the best. Harvey was the quarterback of arguably the best power play of all time, which included the likes of Bert Olmsted, Maurice Rocket Richard, Jean Beliveau, and Bernie Boom Boom Geoffrion. This power play unit was routinely able to score 2 or even 3 goals in a single 2-minute penalty, which eventually resulted in the NHL changing the rule so that only a single goal could be scored before the penalized player would be allowed back on the ice.
Wow.
I want them to change it back.
Yeah.
I want you get a 2-minute penalty. Guess what? people can score as much as they want, but I kind of get it's probably a competitive thing. Harvey was unyielding and had a fierce negotiating style when it came time to renew his contract. In an era when most players took what they were given, Harvey pushed hard for what he knew he was worth as the league's premier defenseman. And along with Detroit's Ted Lindsay, questioned NHL owners about how player pension funds were being handled. Dissatisfied with the response and convinced there would be strength in numbers, Harvey and Lindsay reached out to possible allies on the other 4 teams and moved ahead with an effort to form the first Players Association. And then finally, Harvey joined the Royal Canadian Navy during the Second World War. Most of his time was spent with the naval hockey team. However, he did see action defending merchant ships after he requested a transfer to actually see some, not play hockey the whole time and actually do some missions, basically.
Hey, Phil, do your armed forces have hockey teams still?
No, I don't. I don't know for sure, but I highly doubt it.
Okay.
I don't. Yeah, highly doubt it. On a different note, where's he from again, Troy? Am I throwing you a curveball?
Montreal.
No. More
right?
Specifically, starts with an L.
Montreal, Quebec, Canada.
Oh, you said. Oh, sorry. He played for a team
Laval,
in Quebec.
Laval.
So Laval.
Laval.
So like Valerie, Val, Laval.
Laval. There we go.
Yeah, Laval is not. It's Laval.
Did I make a bunch of Canadians?
No, every American says Laval. All Americans say. I just wanted to correct you, right?
Is it Laval? Laval?
It sounds really different when you're saying it, like Laval. Yeah.
Isn't
that a big like hockey card place? Like, don't they have?
Well, that's where the Montreal Expo was. Well, that's where the Anti-Expo was, but I think the Expo boys bought it, and
I'm pretty sure my hotel was in Laval.
Yeah, maybe it's a lot of Greeks. A lot of my family lived there.
Awesome. Okay, his rookie card, Doug Harvey, 1951 Parkhurst, number 10. There it is on screen. Love 51 Parkies. There are no PSA 10 copies, but there are 5 PSA 9 copies out there. Total graded copies is 348, with the most graded copies being PSA 7s with 45 graded copies. Last sale of a PSA 9 I could find was on December 4th of 2019 via Heritage Auctions for $5,880. A PSA 7 copy did sell via Mile High, and I don't know if it's Mile High Cards, Mile High Auctions, whatever it is. That's what Card Ladder called it. On April 14th, 2024 for $924. That seems so criminally low for a card of this guy, but I wish I would have saw that auction.
Well, if a PSA 9 sold 5 years ago for $5,800, you'd have to think that would be a lot more today, right?
Mm-hmm.
I think it would be.
These cards worry me though, man. In 50 years, in 50 years, if I'm still alive, probably not. Let's say 35 years. I'm in my mid 80s. What kid that's 20 wants a Doug Harvey? You know what I mean? Like that's what scares me about vintage, man. That's I don't know.
People still collect Mickey Mantle rookies.
Yeah, but doesn't that feel different?
Well, it could be the same thing because that's a 52, right? A 52 tops.
Yeah.
35 years is
51 Bowman. 51 Bowman is the true.
That's his true rookie. Yeah, that's true.
But no, like Phil's saying though, in 35 years, when everyone that cares about Mickey Mantle's dead, 40 years, 50 years from now, are kids that are 15, 20 now, when they have all this disposable income, do they care about a Mickey Mantle rookie?
Like nobody really cares about tobacco cards right now. Like, who does? The older guys, right? Do you think in 20, 30 years, people are going to care about tobacco cards? Like my grandpa left me a small fortune. Yeah, sell it at your garage sale, but you're not getting much for it, you know? I don't know.
Well, you're not interviewing Bobby Burrell, I'll tell you that.
Yeah, no, he doesn't probably not. I know. I apologize.
Right. Are we ready to move on?
Yeah, we're ready.
Social roundup time. We don't often reference our social posts on the show, but I thought it'd be fun to get your guys' input on the post we did the other day with the top 25 players with most total cards sold on the secondary markets for the month of June. I made an error on the post, which bugs me to no end. Can't stand it. I understand why on Instagram you can't update photos, because once people comment on something, you can't change it up, but it's so irritating when there's an error on there. So I did fix it for the show. But I don't know. There's some kind of interesting movement last month as far as who people were chasing in the hobby. So I thought we could just roll through it together, and
Okay.
we'll go through the first 5 individually. Then we'll look at groups of 5 to round out the top 25. So number 1, Wayne Gretzky. Now, one might say, well, big deal, no surprise, but it kind of is because we had done this every month, Phil, for 18 straight months. Wayne Gretzky was number 1, and probably 18 months before that, because we just weren't tracking back that far.
Mhm.
And then in March, Connor Bedard took the top spot for the very
Mhm.
first time. Anyone that wasn't Wayne Gretzky, and then held that spot for the month of March, April, and May, and then now finally in June, Uncle Wayne has reclaimed the number 1 spot. It kind of feels like all's well and good in the hobby again. What do you guys think about that? Do you think is it
Yep. Straightened
surprise
itself out accordingly. I'm happy Wayner's at the top again. Nothing against Connor, but he's got a little more proving to do.
6,226 Wayne Gretzky cards were sold in the month of June. Well, that brings us to number 2, and knocked it down a peg is Connor Bedard. Not too far behind, about 150 cards or so at 6,078.
That's insane. That's insane.
I'm wondering though, will he jump back up with the extended release?
Well, extended or probably SP Authentic. Right?
Yeah, whatever comes out
Either.
next. I'm sure he's going to jump back to 1.
Number 3, kind of again nipping at their heels, Connor McDavid. 5,852 cards sold last month. So he had the same spot in May.
Yep.
So he's kind of stayed where he was. Now, here's a question. Had the Oilers won the Stanley Cup, do you think there's a chance McDavid would have been number 1? I think he would have.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah.
100%. 100%.
What's interesting then when you get to number 4 is now we start to see a big drop. Like you can kind of see the levels of the hobby a little bit here. So you go from 3 where McDavid had 5,800 cards sold
Yeah.
to Crosby at number 4 with less than half of that, 2,355 cards sold last month. He was number 4 in May as well, so he didn't change in his rank, but kind of interesting that's and you'll see that drop almost every month. And then at number 5, we had Ovi, who was number 6 last month, but kind of stormed back. 2,017 cards sold for the month. Have you guys seen the volleyball picture of him that's been floating around?
No, I haven't.
I did.
Oh
And
my God.
Someone's like, how's this guy going to, I was reading the comments and people are just losing their minds.
He's got a full keg beer gut.
Oh boy.
Yeah. Not great. Okay. Now moving on to 6 through 10.
Do you guys know any Crosby and Ovechkin PC collectors? I don't know one. Oh, you do? Oh, okay.
Really?
There's some that message us, right? I mean, there's
yeah, I know one of big Ovechkin guys.
Yeah, we know. Don't we get? Isn't there an OV collector on Instagram? Like his name is OV collector, and he has a.
Yeah, I'm sure on social media, but I meant in our I haven't in person met an OV fanatic collector. Like Jeremy Lee is a big Crosby guy, right? Defends it till he dies about how Crosby's so good, which he is.
Are you anti-Crosby? I never knew this.
No, I just the golden goal. Enough. Come on, go. Let's move on a little.
That's why I hated him for so long.
I feel like there's a good amount of Crosby collectors. Okay, but once you get to 6 to 10, then you see another kind of big drop. It's sort of the who's who. You have Lemieux, Patrick Waugh, Austin Matthews, Jaromir Jagr, and Bobby Orr. Not a lot of changes there from the month, so not super interesting. We'll go on to the next one, Troy. Go look at 11 through 15. Here we have Draisaitl, who jumps up 7 spots, number 11, and I think that's the Stanley Cup Finals effect. It's Cole Caulfield still hanging around, right? At number 12 with 1,146 cards sold. Then you got 2 guys that are never on this list.
Awesome.
Ever.
Awesome.
That have, because winning the Stanley Cup. So you have a number 13, Officer Bob, Sergei Bobrovsky, with 1,125 cards sold, coming in at 13, and then number 14 with just 6 cards less sold, Matthew Tkachuk, 1,119, and then Steve Yzerman seems like always in the 15th spot. It's like the 4th month in a row. It's been at number 15. Just kind of weird things you notice when you do this list every month.
Nice to see Tkachuk and Bobrovsky getting some love there.
Yeah, it is awesome. A lot of people were like, "Where's Barkov?" But he's a great player, but a tier or two down from both those two when
Yeah.
it comes to hobby chase. Then looking at 16 through 20, I'm trying to think of any surprises here. Not really. It's kind of Brodeur, Makar, Kaprizov, Quinn Hughes, and Messier. You know, guys that you would expect to see at that level. And then finally rounding out the top 25, you have Slavkovsky at number 21. It surprises me that he's that high still. Now, he had a good year last year, so I'm not dogging him anyway, but there's just, I mean, of all the guys on the hobby to buy cards for, do you think that, Phil, is just the whole Montreal thing?
Quebecers, baby. You can't stop them. Bunch of Cowboys over there. I love them all.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Plus he signed his new deal, right? Do you think that did anything?
Maybe.
I can't remember. when he
He's a
signed
hab,
it.
man. He had a good he had a solid season last year, a really good end of season. The Montreal cards have beautiful patches. Remember the one I pulled in Parker's Champions?
Yeah.
Yeah, they're very chunky, beautiful patches. He's actually really personable. He's a fun Russian. I can only see his ranking increasing, to be honest. Maybe not through the summer.
He didn't sign his deal till July 2nd, so that didn't have any effect on it. Is he Russian? I thought he was
he's
Czech
like
or
Czech.
somewhere.
Oh, I'm sorry. I
Oh
apologize.
man, I got confused really quick.
Eastern European.
Yeah, there you go.
I think he's like from the same place Yager is,
Okay.
if my memory serves correct.
And Czech
Then you
is
have
very
Hash-
big difference. Very big difference. I apologize.
Oh, he's
Then you have
Slovakia.
Hasek at
Slovakia.
20
Slovakia.
Slovakia.
There you
Okay.
go.
Then you have Hasek at number 22. Then at number 23, with 850 cards sold, dropping 4 spots is your Hart Trophy winner, Nathan McKinnon.
Jeez.
So you have 6,078 Connor Bedard cards sold in the month of June, and 845 of the best player in the NHL last year.
Nobody
Kind of
cares.
interesting.
Did you
Nobody
see the
cares.
stat? Did you see the stat that came out on him?
McKinnon?
No.
Yeah. He had the most, I think it was the most speed burst of 22 miles per hour or more ever in an NHL season. And he it was twice as much as the next person.
Which would be McDavid.
It is unbelievable. I mean, I've always thought when I watch that guy, he just is the best skater. He's just so fast. And now that the NHL is releasing their analytics site, it kind of makes sense. But yeah, no one cares about skating. Like that's not going to drive your hobby value.
And then the last two are Luke Hughes at number 24 with 830 cards sold. And then coming in number 25, Lappy continues his hobby renaissance. Will there be a run up to next year? We'll have to see. Number 25 with 825 cards sold in June.
Do you think he'd be like that? Well, I was gonna say, do you think Laffy could be like the Cole Caulfield of last year, where in the summer he kind of increases because people are
maybe
just he kind of made that step forward a little bit last season, and we know how many people are tied up in Laffy. Lots of Laffies out there, so I'd be interested to see that.
So Phil, this basically represents who the biggest chases in the hobby are. Is there anything that stands out to you or surprises you at all that we went through?
Can you go to the 16 and 20?
Yeah.
Something surprise. Yeah, Messier's on there. I don't know. The Moose. His cards are pretty cheap. I guess I just didn't think a lot of people would be buying his cards.
No, you know what it is with Messier, because we've discovered this before. So many of his cards are auto cards with other players. So it's Messier and Gretzky.
And that counts for this?
Yeah, because it's just cards that a player appears on. But you look at like the top Messier sales outside of his rookie card, it's all Messier and auto cards.
Okay.
You know, whoever he's been teamed up with for an autograph.
I picked up my Exquisite auto pretty cheap. It was like under $300. I was like, wow, why not? Yeah, no problem there.
All right. Anything else, Troy? You got anything else stand out to you, or sure?
No, it's it's the same list. I mean, I'm surprised to see Gretzky jump up to the first spot again, but I think Bedard will I think they'll be interchangeable coming up here the next couple months.
Okay, we're going to move on and make a quick mention for Gongshow partner and sponsor Slab Sharks. We are thankful for their support of our show. The current Slab Sharks weekly eBay auction is live. Head to slabsharks.com. Check out all the awesome hockey cards available this week. Mark your favorites and get your bids in. There's only 1,601 hockey cards available this week, or cards available. Crazy big amount for an off-season auction. I was like, you're kind of expected to dip, and nope. It just keeps kind of chugging along at crazy high numbers. Well, we had our homework again. for each of us to pick out our 2 favorite cards. Now, Troy did 3 last time, which cheated. Trying to get like butter something.
Ollie did 2. Ollie did 2 this time.
All right. Well, we'll start with yours, Troy.
Well,
What stood out to you this week?
I almost, after I selected mine, then I saw Josh's. I'm like, we need to create a rule that we only can do like one McDavid, because I feel McDavid shows up here a lot. But okay, the first one I did, just because it's McDavid and Gretzky on the same card. Have at it. You know, this card's gonna go for huge money. It's probably let's look, what is it at now? $2,800 US. So,
and it's very early. The auction just started a couple days ago.
Yeah, have at it. I mean, yes, I don't even know if this is like a one color something or other. I can't even tell what it is. But the actual card, what is it? It's the signature materials from 2016, the Cup, dual auto. Looks like that's a 3. I don't know if that's a black line in the middle of McDavid's, but again, having both of their autos on the same card, numbered out of 15. Great. I would love to have this card. Second card, you know what? This one, again, it's a horizontal. Now, this is my jam right here, where it's actually vertical. I like these vertical dual autos. Gretzky, Lemieux on the same card out of 10. Now, it's a Team Canada card, so this probably speaks to our Canadian friends more than U.S. buyers. But again, 2 all-time greats, probably number 1 and number 2, arguably best players in the world, on the same card with autos in gold. I love it.
I kind of dig the gold auto on the deep red. You guys like that too?
Yeah, I like it.
If I was a Canadian, like, I would be all over this card.
It's too red.
Oh,
it's just too much red for me.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah. thought I'd pick that up there. It's a nice card. Yeah.
You're down in Canada today. It's like your country and against Canada. Phil, you got bad things to say. What's going on?
I'm all right.
1,240 US right now.
Okay. So the first card I picked out is a printing plate, which I'm not a big printing plate guy typically, but I actually thought this one is pretty cool. It's a 2015 from the Cup. It's a McDavid rookie auto masterpieces, and it's a printing plate from his Future Watch auto, the magenta. So it's a 101. It has this auto added to it. So, like, if you jazz up a printing plate in this fashion, and given it's from such a significant card, I'm down with the printing plate in this case. But I also kind of want to pick this one to see if you guys share that opinion, or if you're just sort of out on the whole printing plate thing.
I strongly dislike all printing plates. And as soon as this popped up on my screen, I was like, wow, that's a wicked card. So it's a printing plate. A Cup printing plate with McDavid's beautiful auto, very nicely centered at the bottom. I think that is a banger card, Josh. Great pick.
It is. It's a printing plate, but again, it almost looks like a card, like I mean, you've seen cards that aren't printing plates that look like this. They're this kind of color. It's not black and white, but you've seen these colors where they do the, I don't know what this is, sepia, magenta, whatever it's called. Magenta. But it doesn't. I mean, it says printing plate obviously on it, but it doesn't really look like a printing plate.
Well, then they put like the regular cardboard border around it or whatever material. So it's not just that sort of like the printing plates you get in like OPG paper that are just the aluminum with the sticker on the back. And again, too, it's from his Future Watch auto. So that's not some random card either.
Yeah.
The blue accents. Sorry, I was going to say the blue in the Cup logo, the blue with the borders of the printing plate and the blue auto. It complements itself very nicely.
Then the other one I picked out is a 2018 Upper Deck Elias Pettersson Young Guns exclusives, which is out of 100 raw. I just like these, I'm more and more, I do love Young Guns. I just don't like base Young Guns. And so if you're a Pettersson guy and you're looking for a card that if you think he continues to reach his potential, that this is a card that I would be more comfortable with over the long haul than just like a base Young Guns, which there's 1 million and he has a super high gem rate. And plus I think the design is cool this year. Like I just think it's a nice looking card.
So 2018-19 Young Gun?
2018-19, yeah.
Yeah, it's a nice design. All
right, Phil, your picks.
All right. Oh, yeah. So I also picked a McDavid card, rookie card from the Cup, 2015-2016. It's a gold spectrum, I think. I can't see.
Yeah,
gold spectrum. And unfortunately, it's graded in BGS. So I know I ranted last week hard about patch cards in BGS slabs. I forgot to mention Cup cards too. So I would have not slabbed this. Yeah, I just wouldn't have done it. It's a beautiful card. Any card from the cup, beautiful auto centered at the bottom. McDavid in his blue Oilers jersey, and it got a grade of 8.5. So what does that do for the card? Keep it the same price? Like I want to pay less because I have to put my manual labor into ripping that open. But anywho, next card, please. Actually, could you go back to that card, Troy, please? So Beckett gave it a 10 autograph. That's another thing that annoys me with grading companies. I want to be the judge of the way the autograph looks. I don't understand. Like we're all penmanship experts, or we can like water cooler talk about their opinion. Have you guys ever seen a Beckett 8 autograph?
We have. Like,
Oh, you have? Oh,
Yeah.
Here's the thing. I've actually noticed Josh and Jeremy will talk about this sometimes on the PWCC show a lot. I don't understand how things are different. I've seen autos that look great and get a lower grade, and then I've seen ones that look terrible and they get a 10. And I don't understand what they're looking for.
Here's the problem with grading autos. When you grade a card, and in theory, when you encapsulate it in the slab, that protects the card, and the card remains in that condition. If you grade a Sidney Crosby auto that is now 19 years old, and that card was sitting on somebody's desk hitting in direct sunlight for 19 years, that 10 auto can be like a 4 auto at this point. And now it's misrepresenting. So because of that, I'm becoming more and more against the notion of grading autos, because the auto can change after it's graded. And it's no longer, the grade is no longer a representation of the quality of that autograph. And then that's beyond whether how do you grade an auto? What's the difference between a 1, 2 and a 8, 9, or 10 anyways?
Well, PSA's got their new super space slab, so maybe that'll do something. Anyways, I'll address that later. Don't you worry. All right, next card. Oh yeah, I love this card. So I'm not a big clear cut guy, but I am a massive, and I would think you guys are, and most people listening, 1990, 91 upper deck format card, right? So like I said, I'm not a big clear cut guy, but on the screen, what you're looking at is a Mark Recchi clear cut auto with the 9091 design. Now the card, what would you say? It's translucent? I don't know.
Yeah, what, semi-transparent or whatever it is. But...
So I'd rather they weren't like that clear cut kind of look. I'd rather the old style hockey, but I think it's great that Upper Deck realizes, and I know Billy said on the last episode they're trying to get away from retro stuff. Unfortunately, I don't want them to get away from this kind of retro stuff, because I think this is a beautiful card. I remember, I don't think there's many people that remember Mark Recchi or collect them, but you know, if you watched hockey, you definitely remember he was part of the Penguins, the Flyers. You know, he's a staple in my childhood. I would love to have this card at a reasonable price. I would never want to buy a clear cut box and get this card as, what is clear cut? 180?
I think like 80 US to 100. It depends on, it's gotten cheaper, but I've probably opened personally, I want to say 5 to 7 boxes, and I've never got anything more than a $5 card. Ever.
Oh, see, they got to change that. California Dave loves clear cut, eh?
Yeah. Troy's had better luck than me.
Yeah, I've gotten 2 boxes, and I got my box cost back on both cards. One was a Zetterberg red ink canvas auto, and the other one was a Gensel high gloss.
Yeah, you had no traffic coming home, and every box you opened. You just brag a little bit more today, Troy, and rub it in. Thank you.
So that's my pick, is the 1990-91. It's not from 90-91, but it's a clear cut design from 90-91 Mark Recchi auto. Well, I love those cards. 2
comments on your card. Number one, what a beautiful auto too.
Thank you.
I really dig Recchi's auto. And then, like I keep saying the last couple of weeks, here we come. Junk whack nostalgia era. It's happening, people. It's happening. Yeah. Right. Okay. Why are so many Canadian collectors like Phil choosing Slab Sharks for their eBay consignment services? Well, because they make your life very easy by basically doing all the work. You just hand up your cards and they do the rest. Plus, your cards get listed in their very popular and somehow still growing in popularity auctions. So for complete consignment information and to check out their portal too, that is their new portal that has more features about eBay selling than you'll find anywhere else, head to slabsharks.com. And by the way, they have an app as well, so be sure to download that. Happy news!
Happy news! Happy news! I just do it like Josh. I don't know what else to do.
I'm nervous, guys. We took a whole show off from our steadfast updates on the road to infinity, where we're tracking the population count growth of the Connor Bedard base Young Guns PSA 10. I know it's been a while. Do you guys remember this segment, or have you forgotten?
I'm excited. I want to know what the number's at.
Okay, good. You guys ready? We
Ready
for this? All right. Last time we checked, in the Connor Bedard base Young Guns PSA 10 pop count had risen to a whopping 4,077, which is a lot in a very short amount of time. Remember, Series 2 was just released on March 6th of this year. Well, I was very lucky that I remembered how to check the PSA pop reports. I didn't forget that. And I'm pleased, humbled, and honored to report that the most recent pop reports show an updated PSA 10 pop count of, drumroll Troy. Thank you very much. 4,225, an increase of 148.
Yeah, that's
PSA 10.
sad. Disappointing.
Dropping
Right?
off. Dropping off.
So far, 9,245 copies have now been graded for an updated gem rate of 45.7%. So now the question everyone in the hobby is asking at all hours of the day, will this hit 5,000 by the end of July? If it did, it would be under 5 months, which would be pretty impressive. So I don't know. What do you guys predict? 5,000 by the end of the month, or does it continue to slow down?
I think
I'm
it'll
gonna
continue to slow down,
Yeah.
and I don't think it'll hit 5,000.
I'm gonna say like 4,900-ish.
Whatever happened to all your EPAC?
I don't know.
right?
EPAC gang, rise up. Start submitting those. I
Whoa,
don't
whoa,
know.
whoa! Why are you poking that bear? Let's settle down. No, there's
'Cause
no
I
reason to
figured-
attack them.
I figured when Series 2 came on EPAC that they would just be, because they got that whole deal now where you open it on EPAC, send it to ComC, and then you can get it graded through PSA. Now, it could be happening. There's still, I'm assuming no one's grading these at like the super fast levels. And so there could be down the road. What's like the base level of getting stuff graded? 60 days, 30 day? I don't know. I still think that might happen, but we'll see.
They don't want to send. Listen, those EPAC guys aren't sending their cards to get graded. They're hoarding their cards digitally. Absolutely. Anyway, you'll see.
They want the speckled rainbows.
Speckled rainbow.
Yeah.
They want. Okay.
Silver.
Well, we're going to get back to grading in a minute, but we got to do a little bit of a break because we had some big news that Troy, if you know Troy from the Hockey Cards Gongshow, he alerted to me yesterday that Macklin Celebrini not returning to Boston University. I was going to say Boston College because it's my favorite thing to do, but I'll stay true to the bit here. He won't be returning to Boston University, and instead, just about a week after he was the number 1 overall pick in the draft, signed his 3-year entry-level contract with the San Jose Sharks and has turned pro. He will be joined by Boston College's Will Smith, who was last year's 4th overall pick, who also signed this spring with the Sharks. So they'll both be on the team headed into the 2024-25 season. So, hey, wait. Do you guys hear that?
What's that?
Listen closely. Bill, that's the sound of Sharks break prices hitting the roof.
Well, it's very loud.
They're going to be spendy.
Yeah.
So they think they can develop them better than Boston University. That's the move they're doing here.
That's what I would 100% go with, because I was thinking he would go, or we were kind of thinking he'd go back. It wasn't like 100% sure. But again, it comes down to where do they think he'll get the best development?
Yeah.
And they think it's them. I should have, here's a funny story. One time at Tonka this winter, I don't know, it was like February-ish maybe, or January. I was at practice for Minnetonka girls, and the Sharks, all their top scouts were there.
Really?
Interviewing a couple of players for the Minnetonka boys team, doing like their pre-scouting, doing their work. And I should have talked to him about like Celebrini. I should have just barged in and been like, hey, do you know who I am?
Well, they wouldn't have known that they had the number 1 pick.
No, they wouldn't have. But I should have just tried to talk to him, but you don't want to interrupt. Those poor kids are nervous as it is. And then I started barging in.
They were in the midst of being terrible and earning the number 1 pick last year.
So
overall,
sorry, Josh, who makes that deal? I just find that very interesting. I didn't even hear that about Celebrini. So is it Greer is their GM, I think? Greer? San Jose's GM?
I thought they cleaned house like with their coach and everything after last year.
Yeah, Greer's the GM right now.
Yeah, so is he the guy who made like he talks to his player development? He talks to I would think the owner would want to. I find that quite shocking. Like he's young as heck as well, right?
Well, he was the youngest player last year in college hockey. I think he
Yeah.
just turned 18. Just turned 18.
Hmm.
And there's a couple of things that I think are going on here. First of all, they already had William Eklund, who finally, I think, played with the team last year. And a lot of people are really high on him. He had a decent rookie campaign. Then you have Will Smith signing. That probably made it easier for Celebrini. And then I think what some people know about him, maybe others don't, is that his dad is in like the health and like the training staff for the Golden State Warriors, and his family lives in San Jose. So they moved from the Vancouver area a number of years ago as his dad's job bounced around, but they've been with his family's been with the Golden State Warriors for a while. So maybe that pull he's actually going home in a sense by signing with the Sharks. And I think for the hobby, it's super good news, right? Because now we're starting to see the 2024-25 rookie class shape out a little bit, right? And we're going to assume for a minute that both Celebrini and Smith will be with the team to start the season. I don't think Macklin would have signed his entry level contract if there was a chance that they were going to start him at the AHL level.
Yeah,
I'm sure
those entries, they're 2 ways, right? They're 2-way contracts.
Yeah, but he must have some sort of assurances that he'll be on the team, I would think. Right?
Yeah, they're saying that they were kind of like they're going to center their franchise around him. They're going all in on him,
as they should. Yeah, no kidding.
So it could be a series 2. We saw some of the big guys like Fantilli and Cooley got shifted to extended, but now we have these sort of like top end young guns for next year, which again is going to make these 2024-25 releases, assuming these guys play well and live up to their potential, they could be a lot more exciting. Okay, we'll move on. So this is kind of cool. GemRate, who we track and follow mostly on a monthly basis, they actually published at the end of June, given it's a midpoint of the year, sort of a mid-year grading report for 2024. And it's nice to get a little bit of a bigger picture view on great Troy's favorite topic, grading, and Phil's too. Phil loves to see what some of the trends are. And so we're going to roll through a few of the slides now, and I think we'll have some good discussion around that. So we'll start with the total quantity of trading cards graded through the first half of 2024. So PSA, guys, has graded 7.54 million cards in the first 6 months of this year. That is up 16% year over year. Let that soak in. That is a lot of cards.
I'm curious because we've brought this up. It's like if PSA ever gets dethroned, the amount of value that will be lost is insane.
Staggering.
And I want to know, I probably could figure this out or look it up, do some research. At the time Beckett was king, how big, I wonder how much their market was compared to everyone else, because it just seems like PSA is such a behemoth right now. And man, don't never say never, but holy cow, they got kind of a runway. Someone to catch them is going to take a lot of work.
So PSA is number one. I'll let you comment in a second, Phil. 7.54 million. CGC is number 2, 1.07 million. SGC 936,000, and then Beckett 361,000. Now the stories about CGC and SGC, even though they're way behind PSA, they both had over 60% growth so far this year, and then Beckett down 9%. That's given that there's explosive growth all around. The Beckett losing market share is not a good sign. But okay, Phil, what's your comment?
I was just going to say all empires fall. So it's just PSA's time to be at the top now. It's just a matter of time. Could be a long time, could be a short time. But like Troy said, they have a lot of runway, so it'll probably be a long time. But all empires fall. And they will. And I'll explain why later.
and this is just total items graded. So now we'll look at sports cards, right? So taking out Pokemon, essentially, another TCG.
90% of CGC. Take away all that.
So PSA is still number 1, 4.55 million sports cards, up 25% year over year. Then SGC, 833,000, up 60% year over year. Beckett, lowly 180,000, down 9%. And then CGC, 123,000, down 33%. So what I take out of this is that, now remember too, Collectors Holdings, which owns PSA, also just purchased SGC. So they literally have almost a monopoly on all of sports cards grading or sport card grading. And then CGC just seems to be not very relevant for sports cards anymore, but much more relevant on the TCG side. And then here we have Beckett again doing whatever, Phil, you keep threatening to buy Beckett and make it a real company. When's that going to happen?
I know. I need a few things to click in my life, and then I'll buy Beckett. But don't worry, I'll take care of everybody when I do.
Are you assuming it's going to cost a lot at this point? Or
yeah, I don't know, man. They're just getting worse and worse. It's such a shame, right? Like our childhoods, just the name Beckett. It just it's like they're working hard to suck more,
All right. Now we'll look at grading by category year to date. So this breaks it down by TCG and then a breakdown of all the sports, essentially. So the notable thing here is I kind of go right to hockey. PSA has graded 245,000 hockey cards in the first 6 months of this year. Such a majority, guys. So SGC is second with 20,000, Beckett third with 13,000, and CGC 5,000 hockey cards. 87% of all graded hockey cards so far this year have been graded by PSA.
Oh.
I almost think the 5,000 at CGC surprises me the most out of this. I was like, it seems weird that you'd submit hockey cards there, but maybe.
That's COMC, eh? Don't they have a deal with COMC, CSG? That's probably what that is.
They do. PSA just set one with COMC. CGC is kind of like their most notable sort of deals with eBay, but now that eBay has some sort of relationship with collectors, I think PSA is kind of taking that over. So if you compare hockey to other sports, remember hockey has a total of 283,000 cards graded for the month. Baseball 2.1 million, football 1.3 million, basketball 1.3 million, then hockey 283,000, and then the fifth most would be soccer 226,000. So still of the quote unquote like niche sports, hockey is number one, but it's nowhere near baseball, basketball, and football. Not yet. Anyways. Okay, now looking at players with the most cards graded by PSA. So GemRate does they do a top 12. And again, these are from all sports. Wemby, the number one athlete who has 174,000 cards graded so far in 2024, 208,000 all time. But our guy Bedard comes in at number 10, 38,000 cards graded so far this year, 48,000 all time. So we had 10,000 graded ever coming into 2024. Surprise you where Bedard is? Would you have thought he'd be higher on the list, or are you just happy he's on the list?
I'm happy he's on the list.
I think I'm happy he's on the list too. I thought he might be a little higher, but I think I give too much credit to how many hockey cards are submitted.
Well, here's something to think about, right? So 38,000 Bedard cards graded this year out of 283,000 total. So that's a pretty
20%.
Yeah. I'm doing the math right now. I need the supercomputer out here. There, bro, you are a button bar. With 38 divided by 20.
Look at me. I am the
13.4% of all hockey cards graded.
I was close, 20%.
And then now if you look at the most specific cards graded by PSA, here's where Bedard's a little higher.
Yeah.
So the number one card graded is the 2023 Panini Prism Wembanyama base card, number 136, 21,900 graded so far this year.
God.
Bedard comes in number 6. He's at 9,000, as we just went through, 9,200 now of his base Young Gun PSA 10. So only 5 cards have been graded more than the Bedard base Young Gun so far this year. It just shows you, again, while other sports are so much bigger, how much of an emphasis in hockey is placed on the Young Guns.
Yeah, and this 9,000 is all PSA grades, right? For Bedard.
Yeah, it's only PSA.
Yeah.
I didn't realize CJ Stroud was so popular among the card community. Holy moly.
Texans, he was like the big rookie, the best rookie quarterback last year, I think, wasn't he?
Yeah, he's good. I like him, yeah.
Who? No,
all right, my two grading fans. Any other comments on this before we move on?
It's always interesting to see. We knew Bedard would be on here somewhere. I thought he'd be a little bit higher, but it is what it is. I go back to this thing and just, it's amazing kind of the empire building PSA is doing now by buying SGC.
Crazy.
Yep.
Okay, we're gonna move on to kind of our big sort of roundtable topic of the show today. And I'll admit I stole this idea from our mailbag, but it's such a great question.
Yeah.
And basically the gist of the question is, okay, we're in 2024. We're in the age of AI and every technology advancement to the moon. Why are new cards so imperfect? Why are they so off-centered in many cases? Do we have corners that are bent and chipping on edges? All these sort of things. Don't you
Back
think
corners
that-
bent.
yeah. Couldn't manufacturers be able to print cards that are in basically perfect condition? And I think, like, since this is Super Show and we have the benefit of Phil being here, it's a great opportunity, I think, to have a good discussion, get his perspective on the issue. So I'm going to kind of start and I'll try to set this up the best I can, and we'll kind of sprinkle your guys' feedback from there. I think the short answer and the easiest answer is, of course, all cards, we are very capable in 2024 of every single card coming out of the pack being a perfect gem mint PSA 10. There's no reason why that can't happen. We absolutely have the technology to make it happen. The printing technology is phenomenal these days. It's 100% possible, but of course, that's not nowhere near the case of what happens in reality that we all know. Like I said, cards are often off-centered, corners, edges, the whole gamut, right? And so that brings me to the question, well, why? Why is this happening? And I kind of think that's an easy answer too, is that it comes down to cost, right? I know a little bit about printing and how the print industry works. And when you have these big print shops or big print companies where stuff like trading cards are produced, it really comes down to, from an expense standpoint, your time on press. Like those machines, they want to run them 24 hours a day, 365 days a year. That's how those companies make money. And so when an upper deck that doesn't own a print facility, when they go in, they will rent a certain amount of hours on that press that they've agreed with the print company is enough time to do the proper setup, get everything produced, and be done with it. And so the longer you're on press, the slower you go, the more careful you can be, the more finite tolerances you can have on errors, and you'll have better quality. So my guess is, to a certain extent, they're just ripping it through, right, to get it done. Then you kind of layer on to that where there's setup, right? The faster the setup, making sure everything is aligned, and whatever plates or however they do digital now, not sure, but that's going to factor in too. Are they kind of just whipping them on there and to get it done? And then finally, I would throw into that reprints, right? When I worked at a company that had a print facility, when stuff was printed that was outside of tolerance, which was very minute, by the way, guys, like we're talking like a 36th of an inch off, we would scrap it, throw it away, and print it again. And obviously, like in the case where even our photo here, we're using sort of the probably a good example of the 2021 Platinum, where you have almost every card is horribly off-centered. This seems like it's all one and done off the press, and no matter how they come out, that's the way they're being collated, packaged, and shipped. And so we get cards that end to us that are not perfect. So far, does this all make sense? Are you guys kind of on board with the premise here?
100%. I didn't know anything about paying for hours on a printing press. I never really thought about it. I thought it was just more human error, right? Like, but I guess that would make sense with not putting the right hours in.
I guess premise makes sense. My mind's going in like 5 different directions. So
well, and that, I think this is the least interesting part of it's just a cost savings, right? Quicker through, and whatever Upper Deck's budget is. Now, you could make the argument, well, that's baloney, we should all get perfect cards. Then they might counter that by saying, well, you want every box to be $3,000. And we could counter that by saying it's not our problem that you can't make stuff that's not of the right quality. And you could just go on and on and on, and not very productive in my mind. But where the interesting part of this gets to me is, what if Upper Deck said, fine, we'll spend the money and we'll make every card perfect. So starting with the 2024-25 flagship, every card that comes out of a pack was guaranteed to be a gem mint quality. Would that actually be a good thing or a bad thing for the hobby?
I think we'd find out really quick who likes to collect hockey cards and who doesn't. That would expose a lot of people in our hobby really quick. Yes, sir. So I think
There'd
that
be
would
no
be
need
great.
for grading, right? Because all the quality,
No,
over
still grade your
time,
cards. There's people
yeah.
have different reasons for grading, and people will still grade their cards. I think it'll just get rid of a lot of crap that we all have to deal with all the time. I heard a really good thing once from an older gentleman a few years back. He said, every card that comes out of a pack, I expect to be a PSA 9. If I get a 10, I'm happy. If I get an 8, I guess it just wasn't meant to be. So every time he opens a pack of cards, they're all about 9 out of 10s to him. So, I like that. That was pretty good. Pack fresh, it's a 9. If you get lucky, you get a 10. Unlucky,
Well,
it's an
and
8.
when you think about like what made sports cards and trading cards such a big hobby, it was the old. It comes from the roots of vintage, right? Where everybody collected baseball cards in the 1950s. Nobody ever thought they would be worth anything, so nobody cared for them like they had any value, and so they were lost, thrown away, put in bike spokes, beat up, rubber banded. So fast forward 30 years when people start to place values on these and start to collect them, the very few copies that survived all of that indifference to condition in good condition tended to have incredible value. So once the world kind of made that sort of determination, now you have manufacturing companies that are trying to produce new cards, but they have to, in knowing that now that cards have value, so nobody's going to treat them like kids treated baseball cards in the 1950s. We're going to go right from pack to penny sleeve to top loader, and they'll never see the light of day after that. They've had to find ways to engineer scarcity, right? So there you have parallels, 101s, and I think condition plays a role in that too. And that's where grading also enters into the conversation, where now you have cards that are imperfect out of packs. And so half or 45%, so less than half of the Connor Bedard that if you're lucky to hit one are qualify to get however much you believe in the PSA 10 grade, but qualify to get that grade. That just increases your double scarcity, essentially, right?
100%. But like Josh, when you were referencing the old days, like, oh, but people in the 50s and 60s, they had cards. So basically the win back then was, look, I have this card, right? It wasn't about money. It was, I have this card for my set. When I was in elementary school, money was never a thing. I don't think I ever asked the question, like maybe as a little kid, but like, how much is a Wayne Gretzky rookie card worth? That wasn't what I'm 43 now. So I was in, grade 2 to grade 8, I guess. I collected cards and brought them to school. I wasn't that popular in 7 and 8, so there's that. Because I was leading the trading card club at lunch, but nobody talked
Yeah,
about
you weren't trading with your girlfriend, that's for sure.
No, I was a late bloomer, but I caught up quick. Nobody I could be very wrong. Maybe it's an Ottawa thing or a Montreal thing, but it wasn't talked about money. I remember wanting Jose Canseco's brother, the scorecard. It wasn't about money. I just wanted the two cards together. And I put an elastic band around all my cards and I just walked with them like this. It wasn't about money until I got kind of back into it in my 20s. And then, I had 20-year-old money with my grocery store job. And
But even as much of a collector as you are, Phil, it is about, because I see the cards. You buy very nice cards that cost a lot of money, and you're not rubber banding them. You're being very
it's different now. I'm an adult. No, yeah. So now I talked about it last episode. Now it is a little bit like, look what I have and you don't. It is more ego driven. But at the end of the day, when I look inside of myself, I love set collecting. I love player collecting. I want to go to the hockey game and watch hockey and bleed Ottawa Senators all over the place. I'm a diehard. I'm a fanatic. I'm with the highs. I'm with the lows. That's what matters to me. And that all is beautiful poetry when I collect hockey cards. So, yeah. Anyways, Troy, your turn.
Yeah. Okay. So Troy, here's my question for you. do you think the fact that cards are not perfect and that have many condition issues is a vital part of why the hobby is so successful?
Here's my thing. I agree with your premise. They can make these perfect. It's all about cost. But I think we're forgetting part of that equation too. They could print them perfect, but I think they would have to change the whole distribution system too if they want perfect cards out of the pack. Because guess what? These cello packs or whatever, they don't do any service to help protect cards. And they're getting thrown around in boxes, shipping,
Well,
and
how
all
they
that.
collate, how they package them.
Yeah, so I think there's that's a whole discussion too, because I feel they could print them perfect, but that's not going to save the corners from getting dinged when they move around and shift around in the box. Or, I mean, they'd all come in hard cases. And there comes your $3,000 box when every pack's like a
Well,
one
have you
touch.
guys ever thought of this when somebody's opening the cup and so you open the tin and then they have that like super tight
And they're like,
styrofoam
funk, and they
around? How do they
like,
get the cards in there? Like, do you think, every cup card's like a PSA 8 anyways? It's like, are they like jamming those cards?
well, yeah.
in the
Think about the other
styrofoam?
cards where they have to put patches in them and stuff. It's like, I don't
A
know
lot of
how those
people
are
touch
made.
them.
I don't know how they're made or how they do that. Um, but and then obviously players have to sign cards, and that's another person handling it. But back to the original question, right? Is it? I
Well,
mean,
it's kind of the butterfly effect, right? What if every card was perfect?
I think everyone
What
wants a
would
perfect card. I don't think anyone would like what would happen to
I don't
perfect
either.
cards. I think Phil's 100% right. You would see who the real hockey collectors are. People would drop like flies because if now everything's perfect, values are just going to go right down the drain. And
The
then
opportunity
yeah,
of increasing value has disappeared, right?
yep,
So that's a big notch out of our hobby. Yeah.
Yeah, I do think in a weird way, as annoying as it is, nobody loves to hit a big card because it's so rare to do, and then to see that like corner bent,
yeah,
it sucks. It's very deflating, right? But in a weird way, it's part of what makes these so valuable is that so many things have to go right to open a
Yeah.
box of cards and actually get something of value. You
Well
have to
said.
hit the lottery of getting the right card in the first place, and then somehow have it be, if it's 50-50, it's you're lucky. If it's prime condition.
I wish they would demystify the whole. I wish they would demystify the grading rooms. I wish they would just demystify these card printing facilities.
yep.
What a missed opportunity for these companies, Upper Deck, Panini. Well, maybe not Panini, Tops, just to be part of the community. I've never felt a more separation of us versus them. Every conversation leads to it. The
It is
quality
like
of the cards.
yeah, it is like Fort Knox. I mean, when's the last? I mean, I think I've seen one video leak about how cards were packaged and stuff, and it was like from 15 years ago. It's like these places are Fort Knox. I would love a walkthrough. Just, I mean, you don't have to show your trade secrets. That's what they're all paranoid about. Is that someone's gonna get their trade secrets, but I want to see the process. God, I want to see the process.
It's such a snooty elitist mindset. It just even the way, I mean, I'll get to it, but like you see it on Jeff Wilson. He had an interview with Ryan Hoge. I'm going to bring that up. Just the way they're dressed. Like, I have nothing in common with you, president of PSA. Nothing. And he's like, I'm one of you. I have a card collection as well. Like,
Of $1 million cards.
yeah, just lie to us. Put a figurehead in the place that plays the part. At least that's smarter business. Anywho.
But again, though, that's such a huge part of what drives value, right? Because everything is, what's the pop? Here's an
Yeah.
amazing card. Oh, it's a pop PSA 10 pop 2. It's worth $20,000. An equally as amazing insert PSA 10 pop 11. It's worth a fraction of that,
Mhm.
right? And the only thing
Yeah.
different is the perceived scarcity due to the grading comp. We see this. The better example is in Young Guns. The first PSA 10 Bedard sold for $5,000. One of the
so
first.
crazy.
$5,000. Because it was Connor Bedard, Young Guns, PSA 10, pop 17. Right? Well, 6 minutes later, it was
Yeah.
pop 380.
Yeah.
But-
Humans are funny. We're a funny animal.
So it's like the hobby has found all these ways to create manufactured scarcity and rarity, right? And by producing the cards imperfect to begin with, kind of getting back to our topic here, that's a way to create scarcity.
You don't think they're doing it on purpose, though? I mean, I would think product manager Billy Celio, for example, would say, I want these printed as best as possible. I don't think he said, I want these printed at 78%, efficiency.
Well, I've made the joke, right, that there's a guy sitting on the line poking every other card to make sure it's 50%. No, I don't think they have a number. I think again, I think they can do it, but we're going to pay $3,000 a box. Right?
I work for. Oh, sorry, Troy.
I was just saying it's a cost thing. I think it's total a cost thing.
100%, Phil. I worked for a company that had its own print facility, so I worked in the office part, but I could go down to the print shop and we made products that we sold. And every product that came off the press, we had standards, thresholds that it could be off a certain amount and of whatever criteria that was important to the customer. And like a lot of them, like I said, were as minute as 1/36th of an inch off centered. And if it was 2/36 of it or 1/18th, then right, we would throw it all away and print it again because that was the standard.
Where was this? Dunder Mifflin?
Dunder Mifflin. Yep.
Well, we do know they do quality checks. I mean, they do that. We've been told. I mean,
I'm not sure they do though, because now they're printed in Italy, and so they would have to fly. But I actually did that, right? So there's something called the press check where you can go in, and while it's being printed, you look and you make sure the colors are right. You make sure that everything's lined up so that you can stop it before everything's done and say, hold on, this is not going good. Here's the problems. Fix it and start over. Right. But that increases time on press and that increases your costs significantly. And maybe it is. I'm not going to be super cynical when I say, but maybe part of what the strategy is to get us cards as cheaply as possible. And one way to cut costs is to shotgun them through the printing press.
The fact that it's being printed in Italy should have nothing. They should send a team of 5 people from Upper Deck to Italy. Like, the world's never been smaller. Have some pride in your product. I'm pretty sure they make enough money. I don't think that the Upper Deck just breaks even. They probably make millions of dollars every quarter.
Yeah, this is where I would love to know the process, right? This is where I want to see the process, because I don't know if they send people. I would assume they do. I don't know. I have no idea if they have like a rep over there.
When I hire somebody new for my company and they say they can rake, I still go check on them. It's a rake. They just stand there and move their hands like this. But I, as an owner, and I'm the smallest business of the small businesses, and I still follow up on my employee. I don't see why Upper Deck wouldn't go just to double check.
I'm telling you, Gongshow exclusive. They let us in the printing facility.
They should do it. They should do it. Yeah. What's wrong with pulling back the curtain a little bit? No one's asking us to open up your books. We're just asking, like, we're excited grown men.
This is everyone too. This isn't just an Upper Deck issue. Like, no one shows anything. Panini, Fanatics, any of them.
It's so silly. I'm so tired of it. Like,
what does the blue button do?
Yeah.
That'd be neat. No, and I do I want to echo what Troy just said, is that, listen, Upper Deck comes on the show, they talk about stuff that nobody else talks about.
Yeah.
Right. And so I'm not giving them a pass for any of this, but they are also on the scale of other card manufacturers. They're more open than not. And again, it just comes down to how they make it's a business decision, because when you look at like 2021 Platinum, you can't say those couldn't have been centered. Right. It just comes down to, it was a choice.
Yep.
So, I don't know, anything else to say on this, or should we move on?
No, I think we've we've buried it. I'm sure.
Beat a dead horse, as they say.
Beat a dead horse. I would love, man. We need some like insider, someone to just secretly message us.
And maybe Upper Deck has a rebuttal to this. I mean, I know they listen,
they could,
right?
They could.
So tell us where we're wrong. I mean, happy to. I would love to understand more, and we admit that we
would love to go into the facility and actually see it.
Okay, Phil.
Yeah,
you there?
Oh, yeah, Phil's here.
I'm very, very excited, and Troy and I have a surprise for you.
Oh boy.
This has
All
been
right.
planned for a long time. Now, when we did your segment last time, I made a little bit of a mistake, and I called it "What Creases Fills Corners," and you wanted "What Creases Fills Cardboard," and
Yes.
I felt bad. We want you to be happy and comfortable here. So Troy and I, on our own dime, we went back to our creative department here at the Gong Show. They do great work.
I'm
I think they
nervous.
came up with something you are going to love. So this is a little bit of a two-part thing. Troy, you're going to tee it up?
Do you want me to put the picture up now?
What? What's going on?
Just tee it up, and then you do the picture, and then I'll do.
Okay.
We've come up with a new name for your segment.
Okay.
Okay, you go
Okay.
first, Troy, and then
Ready?
I'll follow. Phil, this
All
is
right.
for
If
you.
you're watching on YouTube, get ready. Here we go.
Oh, God.
Time to find out what puts the poo on Phil's shoe. Time to find out what puts the poo on Phil's shoe.
I love it. I love it. The poo on my shoe. It happens every day. People poo
And if
on
you're
my
not
shoe.
watching on YouTube, it's a picture of Phil with
Phil.
kicked off his shoes. There's some poo, and he's got a heart in front of his fist that's holding up a number one, probably, as I'm guessing. But family show, can't show that.
How did you get the likeness of my Ottawa neighbors and residents behind here? That is a perfect description of all the people I live with that just raise an eyebrow at me having fun.
I want you to know, Phil, our budget on this show is literally tens of dollars. So
I'm
be
a
spared no
contributor.
expense.
I'm a silver platinum member.
You are. See what it gets? It gets you this.
Time to find out what puts the poo on Phil's shoe.
You should talk
All
to
right.
my Canadian government because you get a lot more for the dollars than they seem to be. Okay, here we go.
Wow, another shot at Canada.
Shots fired.
Three.
Shots fired. Okay. So it's my time, eh, boys?
Yeah, your time.
Go for it.
Okay, so I'll tell you what creases my cardboard, boys, or what puts poo on my shoe.
There you go.
The game so many of us play and refuse to acknowledge, the game of grading. You might be thinking, oh no, here goes loud again. Well, you guessed it. Here I am, and here I go. Many of you are aware that recently I have evolved. I have evolved into a new loud Phil with a refined approach to the hobby we all love. A more je ne sais quoi, as they say in French.
Ooh.
These revelations did not come with refractors and one-of-one folks. I have been a PSA fanboy, a grading fanboy, since the hustle was introduced in the 90s. You're telling me there's a professional grading service out there that can objectively analyze my sweaty men on cardboard and give me a grading out of 10? Giddy up, we all say. Or should we all say giddy down? It's been over 30 years since PSA and friends have been selling their snake oil, and it only needed half the time to supply. Supply what, you ask? To supply a single rose-colored eye patch for all the one-eyed pelican case card king bros leading their blind followers on social media. It's not your fault, card bro. You saw an opportunity and you took it. In a world where lazy and a lack of resiliency is rewarded, I applaud you, bro of cards. The issue isn't with card bro, however. The issue is with us, the bottom floor of the hobby that props up the pillars of blind acceptance in our hobby of cards that have been graded and slabbed. When did this happen? How did we let this happen? Let's ask ourselves, why do we grade our cards? We grade our cards to increase our assets value. When you trade or sell an asset, you want to show maximum value to get the best return. Fantastic. Great so far. If you're on the it protects my cards train, here, I'll give you some advice. Buy a one-touch and stop feeding the printing machine of money of grading. A light framework of a standard has been introduced, which made buying and selling a little more efficient and a little more safe, or so we thought. As the years roll on, we find ourselves in the mid-2000s, and a group of folks have figured out some procedural benefits of grading. Let's use PSA again, shall we? Ask Jason Kuntz. He personally has sent thousands upon thousands upon thousands of cards, and depending on the, and I quote verbatim, the temperature of the graders at the time would reflect his submission strategy. Please look up Jason Kuntz on social media. He says it how it is. Like him or hate him, he's been in the game for decades, and he's not trying to be your best friend. Take myself, for example. A 33-card PSA submission, scanned and analyzed into oblivion. 3 cards out of 33 received 10s. 4 received 7s. Do people actually believe I would send in cards that would receive a 7 out of 10 grading? I scanned them, I measured them digitally, all to receive a grade of 7? I don't think so. I whine and I complain publicly, and what happens? I receive a plethora of direct messages offering to help me beat the game of grading. A game I didn't even know I was playing. And there it is, folks. There it is, hobby family. The lie we all say to ourselves. I'm not playing a game. I just want the best grade possible for my collection. You can keep sitting on your throne of lies, but I have chosen to stand up. To stand up to this game of ever-changing goalposts. Thank you to all who messaged me. My quarrel is not with you. It is with the overlords laughing at the top while we prop them up from the bottom. Some of the suggestions were, don't submit so many cards at once, I heard. Don't use a group submitter, they say. Here's my buddy's info. He can clean your cards before you send them in, and he can give you some good tips. As far as I'm concerned, the entire fiasco of cleaning cards is just a distraction of the main issue itself. Subjective human grading. I pick on PSA because they broke my heart worse than my ex-wife, but we have many players in the ring. Could we put the picture up of the first one?
All right.
Perfect. Thank you. We have, so what we see here is a single grader grading a card. We have smaller groups. So this picture that you see on your screen symbolizes the following group: the GMGs, the MGC, the MNT. Throw out any 3-letter acronym and you'll find somebody to grade your card. They're eating lunch at their desk. They're making minimum wage and watching Netflix on their second monitor. Picture 2, Troy, if that's okay. Oh, perfect. Thank you. So what you see here is, here we have the most common of the groups. We have your PSAs, your CSGs, your SGCs. Even though I do love SGC, Peter at SGC is very passionate, doing his absolute best. I love him completely. He's a fantastic company. Unfortunately, it's still subjective grading. So here what we see is we have more graders that can converse. They're all making maybe a few more bucks of minimum wage. They can shadow a grader for a few days and away they go. They can have lunch at their desk. There's no sense of urgency or anything. Team buildings in the morning, team buildings at high fives everywhere. Very basic stuff. Can we get the picture 3 up, Troy? Please. So what we see here is we have, this is my picture of tag grading. This is my representation of tag.
Terminator?
The Terminator. Sorry, I have to click. Yeah, so it's a little what is it, T600, T800E? But I'm sorry, I lost my spot. Here we go. And here we have tag grading. It's objective grading every time. No more fighting, no more disagreeing. Skynet has spoken. A universal debate that's had its door slammed shut. Cancer has been cured. We have objective grading. So what's the issue? We can't seem to get the medicine to the people. A logistical nightmare. I'm not really an authority on tags back-end procedures, but I can tell you this. I left their Discord because it was being run like a daycare. I didn't see any adult in the room calling any shots. I don't see much changing PSA's dominant 10-to-1 ratio over everybody else unless, and I feel tag has the only shot. I do feel the tag brass needs to hear this. Nobody cares about the swagger. Nobody cares about the shiny. No one cares about the packaging. Time to put your big boy pants on, hammer down, and get your amazing product out to the masses. Picture 4, Troy, if possible, please. So this is what we need. This is what we deserve. This is what our hobby, you, me, all of us deserve. We need an efficient monster of a company that can still make money, go capitalism, but offers a true objective grading experience in 2024. Take a good long look at this photo, folks, because this is what we're coming to. Less focus on shiny, more focus on procedure. I don't have the answers, hobby family. A Skynet type of grading company would definitely be a good start. But an even more realistic action we can take now would be for all of us to close our eyes and look inward. Take a look in the mirror of your personal collection and your goals in this hobby. If your goal is to make money, I have no idea why you're in this asset class to begin with, but all the more power to you, Mr. and Mrs. Entrepreneur. Best luck in your flipping and grading adventures. If you're in this hobby because you like to collect things and meet other like-minded people that like to collect things, then maybe ask yourself some tough questions. Why are your PSA 10s worth more to you personally? We both know the label is hideous. We both know the slab is a little better than average. We both know what it is. It's the cash market telling you the card is worth more. And if that's your jam, then I'm your marmalade, and we ain't breaking bread at the same table. Don't think for a second, folks, there aren't wolves circling our hobby thinking we're not the sharpest knives in the drawer. Our hobby does not have the best cool guy reputation. And if you think outsiders don't see us as easy pickings or candy from a baby, you need to wake up. And the easiest way to let the wolf in the hen house is with the standard of grading. Come on, bro, it's a PSA 10. I'll say it again, folks. I do not have the answers, but I beg of you. Empower your decision-making for your PC. Stop and ask yourself why you're in this and if grading really makes sense for your PC. Cliche, but buy the card, not the grade. Because when objective grading takes off, and it will, are you going to be the guy stuck with all the crappy PSA 10s? I have not even scratched the surface of the good old boys club on top of top-level grading. You don't have to look that far back. Just this past week, controversy circling PSA's decision to release their long-awaited prized possession from their R&D apartment, a repacked PSA vending machine. Troy, can you put it up, please? Wait for it, folks. In a casino in Las Vegas. You heard me right. All was well until the internet found out and did its thing. PSA had to release a statement, and it went exactly like this, verbatim. These vending machines are owned and operated by an external company who is a PSA dealer submitting raw cards to PSA for authentication and grading, which are then used for their repack business. This machine, however, is not owned, operated, or controlled by PSA in any capacity. Do you guys see the picture on the screen right now? This entire box is plastered with PSA, giving you that comfy, cozy feeling. I will leave you all with this. I will leave you with this quote from Ryan Hoge with Jeff Wilson on his YouTube channel. Ryan Hoge is the president of PSA. Reza, so this is a little cheeky what I'm saying first. He's talking about one of his managers, Reza. Reza, who leads our grading team, has monthly all-hands meetings with the whole grading staff. He is preaching about consistency in those sessions, reminding everybody he uses it in his employee evaluations. When he's effectively grading, doing performance reviews on his people, this is a part that comes into it. So, end quote. So basically, he's explaining to us that they train their staff well. Okay. So quote starts again. But at the end of the day, we're humans. It's people, and we're offering an opinion-based service, and the opinion can change. We do have grading standards, but one grader might view a certain flaw as more detrimental and might, penalize the card an additional grade. But we try to be as consistent as we can. The interviewer asked him a question. Do you see a future where some of the human element is taken out of the process and maybe is replaced? Ryan Hoge answered, yeah, we're already doing some of that. So we have a pretty robust grading software that runs our internal operations. So every department has their computer terminals as cards of kind of moving through their journey. All I heard was you have an internal database system for the cards you're coming in. Has nothing to do with the eye. So folks, we are their product. Your voices are their commercial. Let's do a bit better in our hobby, shall we? And that's what creases my cardboard.
Wow. That was very emotional.
Yeah.
I don't even know what to say. Other than Troy, we probably should cancel our PSA sponsorship.
You think PSA sponsored us anytime? My dog even started barking at the end, right when you finished. Harley Quinn decided it was.
Dogs were emotional about it too. Very well put.
Hey, listen, we've always said this. We will never back away from the platform or giving opinions, and this is an opinion. And guess what? Maybe PSA wants to come on and refute this. I don't know. It's like what you said, Phil. I'm totally on board. I'm not the biggest grading person. I've never thought about grading as the way to make money. The whole thing is confusing. It's a confuddle. I hate the subjectivity to the moon. I hate how their websites are ran. I hate how they have 400 different pricing levels and there's specials every day. It's just not something I'm interested in. This vending machine is ridiculous. And it's just
ridiculous. It is in a casino.
Yeah. And I will say this. You're dead on. Objective is the way. I remember Tag was when they first came out, I was just like, another grading service. Blah, go away. It's one of those things. But no, Tag is actually doing something about it. Now, I brought that. I don't know if we talked about this on the show or not, but me and Josh were talking about this. It's like I never see Tag in those GemRate reports. So I'm always curious, where they're falling at.
I'm afraid they're not growing.
Yeah, if they're making headway, that's the
problem.
They're not growing. It's a shame, man. When I said the cancer to the medicine, that's the best metaphor I can have. I know it's drastic, but it's insane. What an amazing product, and they can't get it out. They just, I don't understand why you just wouldn't fire 80% of what's going on and bring in a person.
Oh, PSA's trying to hack our feed, I think.
Yeah, PSA just hacked us. They shut the. Phil's been canceled.
It's just my opinion. Just my opinion, not the show's, just me, Loud Collector, Phil's opinion. But I feel I represent a lot of people's thoughts.
Yeah. And like I've said too, or maybe I'll let you go, Josh.
Well, I was just going to say, going back to hobby news, when we were looking at it, the fact that PSA has graded 7.54 million trading cards in 6 months. Well, while we're talking about that, in my mind, I'm thinking, how do you do that? How many people how many grading experts, 7.5 million cards in 6 months? Either you have a low amount of expertly trained people that are spending no more than seconds on a card, or you have a ton of people who are straight off the street and have never seen a baseball card in their life or a hockey card in their life, and all of a sudden are deciding what grade our card gets. And to your point, how the hobby, that the difference between that 8 and 10 can be thousands of dollars.
Well, think about it this way.
Of value.
Think about it this way. You just said 7.5 million. If they were running every day of the month, so we'll say 180 days, that's 42,000 a day. We know they're not going 180 days. I don't think they're grading every day. And then just keep napkin and math it out. It becomes staggering. And then you can figure out the time. And it's like
they need thousands of graders.
They need tons of graders, and the time just never works out. Like, you can't be spending more than, I don't know, what we'd guess, 3 to 4
and
minutes.
And then here's my comment on the vending machine. If you take PSA's word at it that it's not their machine, given that it's got a massive PSA logo, they should be suing the snot out of whoever did that, because that is their logo is like massive on it. All it says is PSA.
They had to sign off on this. There's no way someone would just
it doesn't. Listen, to pull back to just, without trying to get into the little details and trying to find the gotcha moments, just pull back a bit. It's all gross. It's all a lot of people with a lot of money wondering how they can make more money. I'm a capitalist. I love making money. I'm good at it. But it gets to a point where it just gets immoral. It just, I know I'm being drastic, but how every quarter does not need to supersede the previous quarter, but it does. And that's the world we live in, unfortunately, right? Like
PSA, are they a public or private? Do you know who they own?
Well, they're collectors. It's collectors.
I think it's private. It's private.
Okay.
I believe.
Oh, it's just
great job, Bill.
Yeah,
thanks, man.
That
was kind of a very impassioned. I love it, dude.
Yes, we need people that we need rebuttals. We need people to respond.
Yeah, I want people to disagree with me. Come at me, bro. Come at me.
All right, we're gonna talk about new product releases, and there's nothing to talk about. So how's that? Other than SPX July 17th, that's really all we know. No checklist yet.
Whoop-de-doo. We did. Ultimate Collection checklist dropped, right?
No, just the preview.
Oh, the preview dropped. Okay.
Ultimate. All you need to know is the Shield logo. That's all anyone wants. That's all anyone cares about.
So given that Upper Deck doesn't know what SP stands for, I doubt they know what SPX stands for. Is it Extra SP, or what do we think that is?
I don't know.
But I'm sure the checklist will be out by next show, and we'll go through it in detail. All right, we're just going to move on to PWCC. Of course, they are a Gongshow partner and sponsor. We're very thankful to them for their support of our show, and to hockey content producers. We've been teasing now the July premiere auction for a couple of shows. It is live, Troy. So we have some hockey goodies available for bid. And there are 3 hockey cards that end in this month's premiere on Thursday, July 18th. As you'd expect, all 3 are pretty awesome. I wouldn't turn any of them away. That's for sure. So the first one is just your average ho-hum 1979 OPG Wayne Gretzky PSA 8. Love that rough cut. A little bit off-centered, of course, but that's why it's an 8.
That oil drops looks pretty good.
That's an amazing card. Amazing card.
Perfect amount of rough cut for me.
I feel like I'm channeling Jeremy. I mean, the printing plate's off, but I mean, usually it's way off to the side. And
okay, now speaking of grading, The next one is a pretty big card if you buy the whole grading game. 2015 SP Authentic Connor McDavid Future Watch Auto, of course, out of $9.99. BGS 10 Pristine Auto 10. It's a Pop 1 with none graded higher. So again, if you subscribe to the notion that a BGS 10 Pristine is a higher grade than a Gem Mint of a PSA 10 or an SGC 10, that would make this, in the eyes of a lot of the hobby, the highest graded copy of the McDavid Future Watch Auto.
You know what's crazy about this card? So we're looking at a 2015, 2016 SP Authentic Future Watch, not RPA, just a SPA, I guess. This is a card that you find in PSA 8 or 9, and guys will, I know this for a fact because I've seen it personally firsthand. They'll buy the card, they'll crack it, they'll clean it, and they'll send it to PSA to try and get a 10. If they get the 9 again, let's say they cracked a PSA 9. This is a true story. You got a 9 again, they'll send it to BGS. And if they get the 9.5, they get their money. Right. So this is a pristine 10 and a Beckett autograph 10. But that's where the market, and I don't know where these buyers are coming from, but that's how those boys do it. The flip bros there.
Sure. Well, so this card, this specific card, has sold publicly now 3 times, all with PWCC. So the first time was in March of 2021. In the weekly auction, it sold for $85,100 US.
Wow.
March 2021. Then it was listed in the premiere a few months later, so about 4 months later in July of 2021, where it sold for $66,000 US. And then lastly, in May of 2022, in the premiere, it sold for $52,800 US. Now, these are all pandemic era sales.
Yeah.
We get that. So it'll be really interesting to see where this card ends up now. But again, given that it's been kind of the theme of the show today, right? That cards come out of packs imperfect, even still today. And one of the things that grading does, like it or not, is it creates scarcity, perceived or real. You decide. But based on grading, this is the highest graded copy of this card. And so it's going to sell for a big premium. Now, will it be 50 grand or more? You know, it's a lot different hobby market today, but still it's I don't think you can say this isn't a big card in our hobby.
There's no black label, eh?
No, this is the highest grade. And it's a Pop 1 at this grade.
You send this to PSA, you'll get a 9.
Phil, buy it and try it. Let's see.
Yeah. I don't got that kind of scratch.
Hey,
man.
Phil, put your money where your mouth is, buddy.
No. I'm a coward.
And then the last hockey card in the premiere is a 2005-6 The Cup Sidney Crosby Gold Rainbow RPA out of 87 BGS 8.5. What I find fascinating about this card is I like the look of this card better than the true RPA.
Yeah.
Like I like that gold kind of tint on it. It gives it a little bit of a color match vibe. Now, it's nowhere near as value. We talk all the time about the 3 Magic cards in the hobby are the Young Guns, Future Watch Auto out of $9.99, and the Cup True RPA out of $99 or $249. And this is, again, the gold version, but I just love it. All things being equal, I'd prefer to have this one over the 99.
Oh, I wouldn't.
Really?
No, it's not a real rookie. Well, it is, but it's not a 99. It's not in accordance with the Trinity there that you said. Yeah.
Okay. So you don't buy the grading game, but you're in the Trinity of true rookies.
Yeah, I'm a
Holy Trinity.
I paid for my Brady, man. I paid almost $1,000 more for his out of 99 or 99, and for his gold, it was the guy's like, I don't know, $600. I'm like, okay, like he didn't even care. Yeah, and it was out of 15? What are the golds? 25. I forget that year.
All right, Troy, you break the tie. Which is better, the gold?
Well, personally, I would. I know. I'm gonna say I want the gold one personally. Just because
Troy, come on.
I like it. Looks better.
I love you, Troy, cheaper. And I knew you'd side.
Well, it's cheaper. I don't have to spend. It's Crosby. I've come around on Sid. I'm no longer mad at him for the golden goal, but still, I'm not gonna spend
golden goal.
I'm not spending $55,000 on his card, so I'll take the gold one for cheaper.
Well, if you're not super rich like Troy, and the weekly auction is more your speed, it's definitely more my speed. then you're in luck because there's always a weekly auction going on every week. You can check out all the hockey cards available at pwccmarketplace.com. And Troy and I will be back on Thursday's show to highlight our favorites in both vintage and modern. Record-setting mailbag. Here we go. Giddy up. Strap on your jopas. Oh, boys.
Oh,
Oh, Phil. Come on, wake up. All right. Discord. California Dave. Good buddy, California Dave. He says, what's going on at UD with redemptions? I understand the ones that have been over a year and say players are committed to signing. The one I don't get is when it says it's been fulfilled and the message says packaged and ready to ship from the month of March. How long does it take to ship?
Maybe got the sloths from what movie was that? Pets. Was that where the sloths were running the DMV?
Yeah.
No, Zootopia.
Zootopia.
Yeah,
That's it.
yeah. It's a classic.
I've had this happen before too. I don't know. I don't know what their backlog is. I don't know how they've staffed it. Is it a good way to treat customers? I would argue no, but I think one way that you can just call them and say, hey, can you ship this please? And that might help. But I don't know. What do you guys think about this?
I think there's a bigger issue. I think redemptions themselves are ridiculous. And I know Fanatics has made some headway, right? They've come out with, what did they say? They're trying to lessen them. Their expire dates are pushed out, blah, blah, blah. But someone take the bull by the horn and just get rid of these stupid redemptions. I know the comeback. Well, if we don't do redemptions, you're not going to get the card. Well, figure a way out, because who brought up the point with Bure? It's like, it seems like Leaf figured it out how to get him to sign stuff.
Yeah.
It's like, it's just someone somewhere figure out this whole redemption stuff. I still want my Pekka Twisted Tinsel that's been sitting at Upper Deck for who knows. It's still saying player committed to signing soon. And it's been like a year and a half, 2 years, which in the grand scheme of things, I have a couple cards of Panini that are longer than that. I don't expect to ever see those. Panini, they're ridiculous. I mean, they've tried to sue and say they're not honored, or they don't have to honor the redemption because it's some crazy legal thing. But yeah, someone figure out redemptions and get rid of them.
Phil, do you have any gunpowder left, or you want to go in on Upper Deck for redemptions, or are you bowing out at this point?
I don't have it. I don't think I've ever I pulled one redemption card my entire life. It was Brand Clark. And I
got a redemption right there that I just had to spin it there.
I don't even get how they you scratch it and then you go to their website and they send you the card, right?
Yeah, I can show there. I mean,
months later, years later.
Barely. Yeah, Dave's not getting his. Yeah,
you basically just scratch a code off, enter it in the website. Which, remember, I said this last time. Upper Deck has updated their website, but I think the redemption site's still pretty old school.
All right, record mailbag. Got to move on. Discord, just hockey cards. How the flarks is 2023-24 OPG paper still $190 US? Phil,
savages.
how is this the case? What's happening here?
I don't know, but I'm super happy. I bought I bought 2 boxes of 23-24 OPG paper, and I traded it for 7 Parkhurst Champion boxes. And that's where I got my Ovechkin patch auto. So I think it's fantastic that the prices are super high and I got big value. But it's silly. Yeah, there's no card. I don't think there's any card in there.
Well, the prices have come down to the point where it kind of doesn't make sense. It is a little puzzling, right, Troy?
Well, definitely. I was just going to look it up to see if I could. Yeah, it's still, I mean, Darren Adams, $190 US a box.
That's ridiculous.
And they got to be selling it, right? Or else they would eventually drop. I mean, I'll say this: David Adams will drop stuff if it's not selling. I have a feeling, but having Bedard in there, probably people still trying to take their shots at it.
Well, it seems like they've cemented in stone Series 2 and OPG paper. Like they're just not going to budge. Okay, second question: is Connor Bedard the only NHL player with a plus minus of -44 to have a $10,000 plus rookie card sold?
Shots fired! Shots fired! Shots fired!
I would say 100% yes. And yeah, shots fired. What do you think, Troy?
It has to be, right? Like this. I needed research. I'm going to put a pin in this one because that is pretty wild. But again, plus minus is it's not the stat it used to be. People have poked enough holes in plus minus that it's, well, -44 is not good. It's he's selling on hype and talent.
Do you penalize Bedard for being minus 44, or do you just chalk that up to him being minus
Chalk that to
17?
their team stinking. If he's part of it, obviously, but again, like I said, plus minus just isn't the stat it used to be.
What do you think, Phil?
I don't really have an opinion. I'm excited to watch him play next year and make a better.
Me too.
Ball. Yeah.
Okay. All right, Discord, Mad Dog Nav 78, number 6969. He says, I want to move some of my Minnesota Wild PC to binders.
Yeah.
Enjoy looking at them easier. Any product recommendations? Troy, you got one, right?
I did. So here's the one I got.
Yeah.
If you're on Amazon, it's called the X Pro Top Loader Binder. Here's the picture and everything. Yeah, they show it with Pokemon cards, but yeah, I love it. I have 3 of them now. So I love putting cards in there. I can go anytime, go right behind me, grab my binder and look at them. I have to sift through boxes. Just my little hint or my tip is if you have a really thick top loader card, you can usually get it in. You just have to push it in, but you cannot put another card on the back side of it because it is almost impossible to get another card in. But regular top loaders, like regular size cards, awesome.
Okay. Now we can unveil my Top Loader Binder Gang t-shirt idea.
You big nerd. I love it. Oh, that's awesome.
I think it has to say top loader binder though. Because I don't know if people know
gang.
TLB.
We should wear.
If you know, right?
Okay. So
We just can't wear those
inside.
t-shirts. We can't wear those t-shirts when we go visit California Dave because we'll get into some like San Andreas shootout.
Well, anywhere, man. You don't ever know. Just we'll have to do some research, make sure there's no actual gangs called TLB.
Yeah, there probably is. Yeah, maybe take that off the screen for you. Hurry up. YouTube, TL Hockey Cards. Last episode, you guys briefly spoke on this, but what are your opinions on people selling cards they got an in-person auto from? Personally, it's not something I would do. Feels immoral and sneaky to me. The only time it seems okay to me is if someone hits rock bottom and they're offloading everything. I don't know, Phil, do you have a moral dilemma selling IP auto cards?
No, I just laugh at. I mean, when I go to Sens games, I just laugh at all the grown men waiting for. And I know a few of them. They sell the memorabilia at the local sports sports shop show every month in Ottawa. So I actually don't really think about it. I don't personally buy on card in-person autos.
Mm-hmm.
It's not it is part of our hobby, but I've never really paid attention to it. And not because I think I'm better than it. It's just not my jam. Yeah.
I'm kind of 100% with you. It's not my thing. I'm fine with if someone wants to get an auto and sell it, but I'm also fine if a player wants to say, hey, guy looks older than a kid, I'm not going to sign your stuff. And some of these guys are getting now, they'll just send kids to do it and they'll pay the kids to get the auto. I get that. I don't have a problem with it, but yeah, it's a thing. I mean, there's a market for it. It's personally nothing I would never buy an on-card auto that wasn't like pack pulled, I guess you would say. But yeah, I'm fine if they do it.
Discord, you're making me nervous. Question for Bobby Burrell when you have him on. What's your favorite vintage set or era? So I included this solely for the purpose of speaking things into existence. Now, Bobby's reached out to us. We've reached out to Bobby in the past. We need to make this happen, Troy. So
I want to take a guess and say maybe it's the card. Maybe it's the card on the cover. Maybe that's his favorite set. That's just gonna be my guess, but I don't know.
We have to ask Bobby.
Yeah, we got to get him on.
That's
so Bobby, if you're listening,
he responds in our comments and everything. We just got to make it happen.
We got to have you on. Probably the number one guest we want to have on our show. We love your work. We love your books and cannot wait to talk to you. Okay. Discord North Stars fan 23. I'm sure this question has been asked before, but with today's technology, are there any or why aren't any cards cut off center? Shouldn't Upper Deck be able to produce cards with perfect centering? Well, North Stars fan 23, thank you very much. This was the theme of our show, and I think we answered your question at length. So hopefully you enjoyed.
Not sure we answered it 100%.
I don't know if we answered it at length.
Guys, we tried. Okay. Instagram, Luke H. I know neither of you is a fan of tag cards, but I'd like you to make a one-time exception. Here is Minnesota's own Anders Lee, where the tag says his name. I'm assuming this was done on purpose. I'm eagerly awaiting your judgment. So, Troy, you got a picture of the card?
I do. And I got an opinion on this.
tag patch cards, but I do
Oh.
it's just like the McDavid printing plate in the Slab Sharks auction. I can get on board with this one.
I don't think it's his name. I think it's Islanders, because why would the A be
Oh.
lowercase? I think it actually has it's IS and then A. I think it's awesome. Like, I really do dig this from that standpoint. I think it's the Islanders patch or the Islander hobby mystery. I think it's actually Islanders, because that would, and then because look, Anders, yeah, Anders. Okay. I think it's Islanders. I think someone was really sneaky and made it say Anders. Like, that's the part they put in. If it is Anders, then I guess I just would think the A would be capitalized. But this, I can almost get a little bit behind on a laundry tag because it's specific to the team, the card. I don't want the washing instructions. I don't want tumble dry at whatever 120 degree heat. That's where I think they're kind of ridiculous. This is kind of it's like an Easter egg kind of thing. I kind of dig this.
What do you think, Phil?
I think that's a horribly ugly card. I don't care about the tag at all. It's a sticker auto and it's been compromised. It's purple. It's ugly. I don't like it at all.
Now, Luke, if that made you feel bad, just remember, every card I buy, Phil says the exact same thing.
Oh, is that his card?
Yes.
Oh, I'm sorry. Well, yeah, okay. I'm not. Well,
No,
hey,
you gotta be honest.
Okay, beauty is in the
Phil
eye
is
of the
honest,
beholder.
and we love that about him. And
beauty is in the eye of the beholder. If you like your card, I'm so happy you're happy. Man, I got really ugly cards no one likes. It's okay.
Okay, Instagram, Cards AH, very important question. He says, why do my cards only show up when my wife checks the mail, but not when I check it?
That's awesome.
Well, Cards AH, what I would do is create at least a 45-minute PowerPoint presentation and explain to your wife why this is an investment in her future too.
Yeah. Actually,
that might work.
Do we know Cards AH? Do we know if he's in the US?
I believe he's in Canada.
Okay, so if you're in a US person and you have the same question, there is a service we know about. We had it in our Discord, our group chat, and I actually knew about the service. I don't do it, but you can sign up for the US Postal Service to get a scan of every piece of mail that is getting delivered to you.
Oh, daily delivery digest.
Yeah, and you can check that. And if you see cards, maybe you want to be the first one to the mailbox that day.
Or mail them.
You're not married. You don't have to deal with any of this baloney.
Or you could mail them to your employer, like most people.
P.O. box.
Am I the only one that shows my wife? I'm like, look at this card. Look at this card.
Yeah, Trey, we're not billionaires, so keep that in mind. Okay, Instagram, Clinton Engman. What is the best box to invest in for pulling cards? And are retail boxes even worth it? Well, Clinton, what I've learned in this hobby is the only investable wax is the wax you don't open in the first place. Yep. So any box you buy with the intention of pulling cards out, you're what do you think? 9 times out of 10, you're going to lose money. And so you got to do it for the love of opening packs and understanding that you're taking a hit, right? Retail is very much the same. It's kind of an entry drug into the hobby. Is that
don't
like
buy
the
retail
drug?
Don't buy retail, Clinton. If you can buy hobby box, buy hobby box.
Yeah, I mean, I would say best box to invest. Yeah, I buy sealed Bedard wax, I guess. And just
you get your oil changes at the dealership? Probably not, right?
Throw it in the closet and call it good. But yeah, it's I don't know. I'm not a good one to ask this one too. But I do want to say this. His name, I don't know. Have you guys? I'm gonna go off the rails. Anyone seen the show Toast of London?
Mm-mm.
No.
Okay, I'll skip it. There's
Werewolves of London. I've seen.
There's a character, Clem Fandango, and this name just reminded me of it. It's funny.
It seems like a very deep cut, Troy, that you're pulling out there. Okay, Instagram, Merrick's Cards. Why have OV cards dropped in price so much in the past 6 months? Well, it's because people have watched them play volleyball.
Yeah, that's good that they dropped.
I honestly, I think there's a real concern that he's not going to get the record now. I think there was stuff baked in, and now I think people are worried. That's what I would attribute it to.
He makes Phil Kessel look like a CrossFit national champion. That's how bad. Phil, you got to look up his volleyball picture.
No, I can't. I just got my first 2 Ovechkin's cards in the last month. I don't.
Well, it could be. I mean, I'm curious if that's been past summers, and I mean, look at he could be like a Hollywood actor where those guys can put on weight and then they just work their tails off. And
Yeah, it's
40?
also
No,
steroids
no,
there,
no.
Troy.
Ozempic, right? That's the new thing.
Oh yeah. Okay, Hockey Cards 97 from Instagram. What do you think about Wyatt Johnston cards? I've been buying him a lot. Okay, I'll chime in on this
Yeah,
one.
you're our Wyatt Johnson expert.
I'm Wyatt Johnson fanboy. He's very promising. Had a great second season. Now you got to ask yourself: will he be the primary goal scorer on his team? Meaning, will he eclipse J. Rob or Rope Hintz or even Stankoven, who's emerging too? And then does he have the flair or hype or whatever it takes, right? Popularity to be on par with like a Jack Hughes? I don't know. And so if you're buying to flip, like with all prospects, the more and more I learn, I think the investing in prospects is a no-win game. It's flipping prospects, and it's got to be fast. And you got to be lucky or good or know how to get in at the right time and get out at the right time. So I think he's an exciting young player who has a lot of potential, but very few reach the level of consistent production that an Austin Matthews or Sidney Crosby or Connor McDavid does.
And I think he's positioned well though to be one of those, right? We say there's the hobby or each team can support 2, maybe 3 if you're really, really lucky. And I think he's at least in the running for that with that team because they're kind of all over the place.
You Wyatt Johnston stan, Phil?
I don't know much about him. I know I gave a clear-cut Young Guns away for free to a kid, and I kind of want that back now.
I would take that.
No, it's an old childhood friend's son. He found it. He's like, you. I said, yeah. Well, you found it in the box. Go ahead and take it. I said, have any card.
Well, here's a Phil question from Instagram. Nolan Finlay. Do you know anything about KSA Card Grading Company? Would it compare to PSA? All right, Phil.
So KSA is soft in my heart, but they would be in between the two pictures. I showed kind of like tier 1, tier 2. So no, what are your goals? If you want to encapsulate your card, protect it, and keep it for your personal collection, absolutely submit your card to KSA. If it's a Wayne Gretzky rookie card, I probably wouldn't send it to KSA. I don't think they check that well. I think their standards on grading Wayne 79s are quite different than the other big boys. So I would probably stay away from KSA for my Wayne Gretzky rookie card or any vintage type thing. I would go to SGC personally. But KSA is good, very cost effective, very Canadian. They just changed their slabs. The slabs are much nicer. I personally would not use them, but I'm not using any grading company anymore. And so to answer your last question, would it compare to PSA? No and no. So
where do you rank the Canadian grading companies between Mint and KSA?
Well, I don't. Mint's kind of like they were kind of the same during COVID. I think KSA is more motivated. They're better networked with the big Canadian boys, especially out of Toronto. They all know each other. I don't know much about MNT. I think they're in a shopping mall or something. I'm not sure.
Don't ask me. We have no clue.
I don't know much. Listen. Keep it simple. It's great for your PC. Any grading company encapsulates your card, protects it, the whole jam. Buy the slabs you like. If you're looking for reselling, if you're actually treating this as a business and you're being an entrepreneur, PSA all the way. No one's going to beat PSA 10-1.
Okay. Instagram 86 collectibles. Great question. If you could put yourself in the stands for one historical hockey moment, what would it be?
Whoa.
All right, we'll go first, Phil, while Troy's dogs freak out. So I would say for me, it'd be the shootout in the 2014 Olympics between the USA and Russia, where TJ Oshie put on a total clinic during that shootout. Well, what would you pick? Or Troy, you can go.
I'm Miracle on Ice. Okay. All the way.
Does it have to be one game?
Yeah, one moment.
Okay. 72 Summit Series? Is that the...
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah. Because it's like, I don't know what I was watching. It was at the last, or maybe the first expo we went to when they had the author, I think, who wrote a book maybe on the 72 Summit Series or something. And it's funny. It's like the Miracle on Ice, like Canadians just don't care, right? You shouldn't care. It's not like it was like Team Canada.
The hell would I care about Miracle on Ice? I'm not American.
And it's like the 72 Summit Series. It's like Americans just don't care. And it's like, it's just crazy that these dichotomy exists, but I get it. But it's like
So
Miracle on Ice is just.
you guys don't really know about our 72 series with Russia? Like that's not a thing?
Well, I do because I've read enough about it after.
Yeah, we know about it, but we don't care much.
Oh, okay. Well, Canada's big things like Paul Henderson should be in the Hockey Hall of Fame. No, I don't think he should. It's not the Canada Hockey Hall of Fame, it's the Hockey Hall of Fame.
Well, plus, and we bring our Minnesota stuff into it. Miracle on Ice, like 8 players from Minnesota were on it, so we have to claim that as ours.
Should I watch the movie? I've never seen the movie.
Miracle with Kurt Russell as Herb Brooks. Great movie. Watch it. Great
Big
movie.
Kurt Russell fan. Okay, I'll check it out.
Again.
Yeah,
Okay.
that was true.
Instagram, Stells20. What players' young guns increased the most from the start of the season to the end of the playoffs?
I have no
Well,
idea.
Stells, are you trying to kill me or what are you trying to do here? Because there's no real tool to do that. It's possible.
Yeah, it's possible.
It would take about 4,000 hours worth of research, given there's thousands of young guns to look up. So sorry,
I mean,
first time I literally can't answer it.
Yeah, I mean, this is I don't know. You could do it if you limit the year, right? It's just say, okay, we're going to take young gun 22, 23 young guns. That's what we're going to go with, and give them a year of breathing room and see which one increases the most. But yeah, it's
my best guess is Tage Thompson. That's my best guess. He was
Really?
kind of
I think he came back to earth, though, right?
That's
Like,
the worst guess possible.
Why? He was a nobody, and then he exploded, and then all his cards exploded.
That was the year before. He had a horrible year this year.
No, not this year. I'm saying, like, if this was 2022, we'd be like, "Who's this Tage Thompson guy? His cards exploded."
No, he said from the start of this past season to the end of the playoffs.
Oh, Emmett was right. I don't pay attention.
Tage Thompson is a horrible.
All right, let's move on.
Okay. Wow. Shocking.
I thought it said decrease, not increase. That's my excuse.
For your sake, we're going to move on. All right,
Okay.
Instagram, CJC 95. It's probably a new grading company going to start soon. Do you think anyone other than Upper Deck will be licensed to make NHL cards again? Well, everything you hear from both Upper Deck and the NHL and NHL Players Associations, they have a long-term deal, whatever that means. I don't know. You'd have to think down the road. Phil, you made the statement, right? Empires all fall, right?
Mhm.
So I think it would, if you had to bet somewhere down the line, it'll open up again. I just have no idea when. What do you guys think?
Similar. I mean, things will change eventually, but it's pretty solidified right now. It feels like, anyways.
Troy?
Yeah, I don't know how long the current deal is. Everything we hear, they're happy with each other and all that stuff. But again, money talks, and Fanatics has a bunch of it. And I can't believe Fanatics will just sit there and let hockey go on. I've got to believe they're going to try at some point.
Yep. Instagram, Doghouse Hockey. After last week's interview with Billy Celio and the sprinkles of information he alluded to about what is to come with future releases, can each of you describe your dream base set and dream insert you would love to see Upper Deck released? And he says, Troy, it can't be another SP Legends. They're on you, Troy. So I would say, I hope this answers your question, Doc House. I'm very, very excited for 2023-24 Skybox DX2000. To me, that's about as good as it gets. And I just can't wait for it. But if I had to create a brand new set, I think I've said this before, it would be something probably pretty high end, like spendy, but that only had game used and photo match, like to the game. Like I want to know this is a stick from Danny Heatley's 2-goal game in 2004, right? On December 17th. And so I could sell it to Phil for a lot of money.
Mhm.
But so, and you could call it like something like, I don't know, like SP game used, something like that. What do you guys, what's your perfect set you'd love to see Upper Deck make?
I still want something that has like the young guns that never were. I want people that never had young guns to get young guns. I still think there's probably more names they can do on all-time future watches. I don't know if this becomes just this master set, or am I cheating by
no
doing
SP
that?
Legends, Troy.
I know. I just love SP Legends. And I didn't read this question beforehand, so I really have a problem trying to figure it out.
Phil.
Come back, go to Phil, and maybe I'll think of something.
Phil.
But
My dream base set would be the 9091 design.
they already did that though.
Ooh.
They already did
not
that
for the
didn't
entire base set.
they? Didn't
they
they
did-
do
they-
that? I got a
Well, they did
Pekka.
it in 9091.
No, like 2005. Didn't they do like an insert
Not
or
the
something?
whole base
Or
set.
15? Hold on.
All right. Well, either way, don't ruin my dream, Troy. So that would be my dream, and I'd want some of the big inserts to be the exquisite 0304 design, of course. I'd want the Young Gun acetates to be big hits with the 9091 design. I want the acetate card with the 9091 design. I think that would be a huge banger.
So you're putting Junk Wax base set in with 03 exquisite RPAs and Young Guns acetates. Well, what are you calling this set?
I'm calling it Phil's dream set.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and I'd like to get some star rookies in there. Those could be the retro parallels of the Young
It can't
Guns.
just be Phil's dream set. We got to think of number. It's got to be like PDS 24 3000.
Oh, okay. Then I want it to be. No, you already stole the X. Yeah, I don't know a title. The title would take me a while. But I'm so picky of what I like. I could make a dream set easy. Yeah.
All right, Troy, are we ready to move on, or do you got to come back?
I don't got a good one. But 2010-11 Upper Deck, they did the 20th anniversary parallels.
Yeah, they have a lot of parallels in a lot of years, but not a full base set.
Mm.
I think I know. Like you're talking about the Gretzky, like those. There was in retail and the hobby. There's two different Gretzkys in the 90-91 set. I think I know what you're talking about, Troy.
Here, I'll show a picture of my Pekka. We're just going off the rails. Now I'm just like, here we go. Like that's
Yeah.
the Pekka.
Yeah, I have an Alfredson like that too.
Okay.
But it was. I thought it was only selected inserts.
Oh,
More
maybe it
research.
was. Maybe
I'll
it
take a
was.
look then.
Oh,
Shattered dreams.
Tomato, boys. Tomato. Okay. Facebook. Andrew Chi. When trading cards at shows like live trading, what type of language or mannerisms do you like, dislike? Is there anything someone new to the hobby should know to have be more successful when trading? So, Phil, this is probably another you question.
I
since
got
you
one
trade
for
more at
this.
shows. And
Give her,
okay.
Troy. Give her. I'm thinking.
I'm gonna say when I walk up and they're sitting there eating their lunch or something, maybe don't sit there and try to talk cards and touch them. Go back and go behind your curtain or whatever and eat your card or eat your lunch. Like,
Your cards.
There's been
Troy's
twice I've seen that, and it's just kind of off-putting. Like I don't want that.
Do you ever get like the wiping their hand on their shirt to shake your hand?
Okay,
50
no.
degrees
I don't know if I could do it. I'd probably like, okay, I'm gonna go this way.
Phil?
Sometimes when I have my GoPro on my neck, some of the older farts don't like it. Actually, you know what? It doesn't matter on age. So I try to be very respectful for that. So I try to ask if I'm recording, what mannerisms do I not like, or characteristic traits? I don't know. I try to find everyone's currency and try to abide by
Yeah.
that. Most people are pretty friendly. So I won't usually swear unless they swear. Then I
Yeah.
know it's safe. This is all in theory. I usually end up swearing. I just try to match personality, match their energy. Sometimes I'm a lot, so I try to stand back a bit because I'm so loud. It's not just a character. I'm actually an extremely loud person. So I try not to get into a quiet person's face too much.
And there's, I can definitely tell there's a difference. Like I don't know what it is, but there's sometimes, and I'm not a big like people person, right? Or like I don't like crowds. It's not like my thing. But
I don't
there's
like people.
well, there's been some tables where I went up to, and the person just comes up and they're just like, "Hey, can I help you with anything? Here's my table. You can go here, look around, come back in." That stuff kind of like when they're really like nice and welcoming. I kind of dig that. It's the guys that kind of stare at you and maybe they're trying to read off of you. And if you don't talk to them, they're not talking to you. But that's one thing I've noticed. There's just a couple, there's like, we've been like 2 or 3 that were just so welcoming that I was just like, okay, I'll talk to you. And then the one, I felt bad for one guy that's at the Montreal show. I said this, he like was just talking to me for like a minute in French. And I felt bad because I didn't want to interrupt him because he was going on and on and on. And then finally I just
That's when you went and got me. Phil, don't leave me.
The
guy just took me for a minute. He thought it was French. Don't leave my side.
Took a break and I was like, I'm sorry. I was like, I'll go ahead. Oh, I felt keep
if you
the
make a
TDs.
good deal and you're not afraid of COVID still, shake their hand, build
yeah.
relationships. That's
Oh, yeah.
that's how you meet people. That's how you save sellers. Not all sellers are on social media, so get chatty at the card shows, man. Yeah.
Laval.
Laval, Quebec.
Mhm.
Instagram, Quicksilver Skater. Hey guys, love the content. I'm from Montreal and I PC Habs and Red Wings. So, of course, not a lot of hobby love in my sector for Wings cards.
Yeah.
What would be your recommendations if I wanted to be able to trade, sell as a Canadian some Wings cards? I set up at shows, sell on eBay, but up to now it has been disappointing. Thanks. Okay, well, I'm actually going to throw in a plug for our sponsor, like Hard Post. But I think if you're looking to trade Wings cards with people that collect Red Wings that are not in your area, that might be a good option because there's lots of hockey collectors on there. There's collectors in the States here that you can trade with. And so you might want to try that. Again, they are a sponsor of our show. And so you got to take that with a grain of salt. But if you use a code Gongshow30, it's a promo code and you can save 30% for your first 3 months. So like a $9 subscription gets down to like $6 or something like that to try it out. You guys got any other ideas for quick?
Well, I
Silver
kind of
Skater?
used. This is really anecdotal, but obviously being a Wild and North Star guy, I actually that's one of the reasons I went to Montreal just because I scoured through boxes and guess what I found? A ton of Wild and North Star cards that were just hanging out in those boxes because they didn't want them or they not a big market up there. So I was wondering maybe you can find some good Red Wings cards hanging out in those boxes, but that's just me. Edmonton show, Montreal shows, Vancouver, all that fun stuff. Now to trade and sell, I don't have any big recommendations on that except going out and talking to people and finding out what they want.
We good to move on, Phil?
Yeah, I got nothing. Move to Detroit. That's it. Yeah, cheeky response. I got nothing else.
Instagram, Rimpy Rips. Make Phil the third host permanently.
Oh,
He compliments you guys in the show. Aw.
thank you.
Yeah, that's one vote for Phil, and we've had one vote against Phil.
Yeah, I know. Hey, we're dead even. We shall cut the bike in half. Thank you, Rhyme Rips.
Rimpy Rips.
Rippy Rips.
Rimpy Rips. I very much appreciate, and I'm very flattered. Thank you.
Well, we're trying. Negotiations are ongoing. I can
Every
say there's been
second
progress,
show's
but it's gotten hurtful at times. So we got to be
I got deep, boys.
deep. Instagram, Photo Works. I don't get this one. So sometimes I don't read questions, right? Like English don't work in Josh's brain. 24 Synergy, new players cards more valuable before their Young Guns are released. Example, Logan Stankoven. So is he saying that like
did 24 Synergy come out before or 23 24 Synergy? I can't believe 24 25 Synergy's out.
Yeah, well, in general, right? Like the one that's easy is Artifacts usually comes out before like Series 2. And like in the case of Bedard, yes, you want to sell those right away before the Young Guns comes out because that's going to dominate the hobby's attention. I think that's what he's going for.
Yeah, that's what he's saying. He's saying, like, I think he's trying to see, is there an opportunity? Should I buy a case of Synergy and sell something quick before the Young Guns come out to satisfy a thirst of the hobby? I think that's what he's saying. I would say, no, don't do that.
I was going to say, I would probably say no, but because it depends on what the rookie class out of that product is.
Instagram, Jeremy Catan. Do you think the acquisition of Matt Savoy, not Matthew, by the Oilers will have a positive effect on his hobby value? Also, has anyone ever done a breakdown of best hobby or hockey teams in terms of value and overall market share?
That'd be easy.
Yeah, it's like
I
Toronto, Montreal.
was going to say Toronto number 1, Montreal 2. There we go.
I'd put Montreal first. I'd put
Montreal 1. Okay.
Yeah, I would.
Okay, now who would number 3 be?
Not the U.S.
Detroit?
Edmonton?
I don't. It's
Edmonton.
Canada's got to be the top 10, like cities.
There's not 10 teams.
Yeah, there's cities. I mean, or were you saying Toronto metro area or Montreal metro area?
What about Matt Savoy to the Oilers? Whatever.
Well, can only help. He can only go up, right? It's not like he's done anything.
Whatever's happening in Buffalo isn't working, so maybe change the scenery. We'll get because he was like you mentioned in our last show. He was a signed Upper Deck spokesperson.
Yeah, he was a big deal. Like they signed him to a deal.
Well, Matthew Savoy was. Matt Savoy, we don't know.
They're two
Instagram
different people.
BLN cards.
No.
Is
no,
it
we're
no?
just-
Oh, you turds! I didn't know that.
Instagram BLN cards. Is there a value multiplier to go by for jersey cards? 1 color versus 2 color versus 3 color versus part of a patch.
Huh.
I've never heard of one, but I do know, like, on a significant card, there can be a big difference. So
Agree.
a couple of sets that came to mind are like the 1997 Wayne Gretzky game jersey autos, which are considered the first jersey auto cards. If there's 2 to 3 colors on the jersey swatch, they go for a lot more. Or the 1996 Upper Deck game jersey set. I just don't know if there's a rule of thumb multiplier that people use. Do either of you guys, have you ever heard of one?
I've never heard of one, but like cup RPAs, right? Don't usually a 3 color go more than the 1 color of a player.
You get more breaks in the patch too.
Breaks, so
Breaks.
I don't know if I've never heard of a multiplier. I mean, you could probably figure it out. It'd take a lot of work and math, but you could do it.
Instagram Hockey 312024. What's the favorite card you own? I'll go first and let you guys think. Mine's a no-brainer. It's not the most valuable, but I love my 2016-17 OPG Wayne Gretzky Glow Peachy Easter egg PS8.
I could have picked that for you, Josh. I knew you were going to say that.
It's my fave. Don't make fun of me. All right, who wants to go next? Phil or Troy?
Troy.
83, 84 OPG Pelly Lindbergh rookie.
Ooh.
And here, I'm going to bring a picture of it because I just, anytime to talk about this card. Sorry, I just found an eBay listing. Whoops, here it is.
You found a KSA listing.
Yeah, whatever the first one was. I love this. To me, it's just, I love this.
You do love this card, Troy. You bring it up
It's the greatest card ever. Look at this goalie.
I love it.
Pelly Lindbergh, white mask, brown pads, dingy. It looks dark. It's this early 80s. Pelly Lindbergh was awesome. Died way too soon. I just loved it. He was my favorite goalie, and he died. I just love this card. So this is this, and then if I have the Pecorine, those 3 monumental patches, the 1 out of 3, the 2 out of 3, and the 3 out of 3 that make the Panther kind of logo. That'd be my other one.
Do you have a slab of this, Troy? A PSA 10?
I have a PSA 9.
Ooh, step up your game.
Yeah.
Is there a
But
10?
now I don't care. But that's back when I cared about slabs. Now I don't care.
Oh, that's right. See, I contradicted myself again. Old habits die hard. Do I have to say my favorite card?
Yeah.
I feel like it's controversial.
Well, really?
Yeah, a little bit. You might be able to guess. So it's a Wayne Gretzky card, but it's not the Wayne Gretzky card. It's the fake of the Wayne Gretzky card.
Oh, the
1998
Blast from the
refractor.
Past.
Yeah, that's my favorite hockey card. I love it.
Why is that controversial?
Well, because it's like, oh, you like the replica of the original? It's like, yeah, I do. Yeah, the Rembrandt. You like that?
Yeah, you don't like grading, but you like reprints? What's that?
Who's this guy? This guy doesn't know anything. I'm like, I don't know much stuff. I smoke and I know things.
I think that card is awesome. So
Thank you, Josh.
I wouldn't be ashamed of it. I like
It's my
the glow in the
favorite
dark card, for God's sake, Troy. Or Phil. Instagram, Ruben Kramer. What's it going to take for me to convince you guys to fly out for the Van City card show this fall? I don't think you need much convincing. I'd love to go.
Where is it? Is that the Vancouver or where is Van City?
I think Sylvan's going to that.
Shark's involved with that. Yes.
Yeah. Sylvan's flying out to that. He's going.
October 11th to the 13th, it looks like. So I hope I got the dates right. Yeah.
Is that a long flight from like Hogwarts, wherever he lives, to Vancouver?
Well, it's from one side of the country
one side
to the
to the
other.
other.
Yeah, it's a bit of a trip. Yeah, you might take a nap. Yeah.
Tell you what, if I don't have any hockey going on, I'll head out there.
Are you a Vancouver guy, Phil?
Never been. What, Canucks? No, I can't stand the Canucks. Bunch of whiners. Or do you mean British Columbia, the province?
Yeah, the province.
I've never been.
No.
Yeah. Yeah, there's not much convincing.
I'd love to go. Troy, come pick me up.
All right. Hitman, let the Hitman Hearts signing autos.
Yeah.
Ooh, there we go. All right, 2 more guys. We can do this.
All right,
Instagram.
I was just saying, aren't I supposed to be like, oh, VIP passes? No. Don't worry. I'll pay my way in.
I don't. Does this name like spelled anything, or do you just say the letters? Right.
Oh.
Instagram ZXCVTAGG. Is that like their wireless like password or something like that? I don't know.
Probably.
Yeah.
I recently started back in the hobby. Oh, welcome back, man. Do Habs cards have higher value than other teams? Yes.
Mm-hmm.
I'm PC and Owen Beck. He's projected to be a good third line center, and I find his card that value higher than other comparables around the league. Is this normal? I just think that's the Habs factor, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Right. And then he has one more question. He says, another question. When I see last eBay sold prices, they're usually much lower than the current asking prices on the
Yes.
same card, and sellers don't often accept offers of last sold. Why is that?
Yep.
Well, it's because
Welcome to the hobby, brother.
you want to rethink your decision to come back. No, honestly, it's because I think a lot of it has to do right now with the prices are kind of trending down, and so a lot of people probably have more into a card than recent comps, and there's a resistance in the hobby
Yeah.
by many to lose money on a card.
And
So-
it's I love this question because I mean we laugh because we've all been there.
Yeah.
Like we've all had the same thought. It's like, what is going on with this stuff? But you're dead on what you're seeing. It's just it is the hobby and where we're at, and you could write the most eloquent comp, message to a buyer, and they'll just be like, whatever.
Shoot your shot,
And I-
man. Shoot your
Yep,
shot,
shoot your
and
shot.
and be firm on your price, and
Yep.
establish a good relationship, build a good bridge, and walk away. That's how
Yep.
you do it.
Last thing I want to say about this too, and it's more about people that are newer or coming back to the hobby. Don't be afraid to ask any question, even if it's a question we've answered 900 times. We know that we have new people coming into our show every day,
Yep.
and we've done 200 of these now, and so one of our big things is to be very accessible to new people, and there's no bad questions. Like, these are fantastic. Last few weeks, I feel like, Troy, we've had a lot of
Mm-hmm.
people that have mentioned that they're new to the hobby, and I love that. I absolutely love it, and there's nothing too basic. And if we can answer something that's been kind of that you haven't been able to find the answer to or has been bugging you, I think that's amazing. So keep them coming. Okay, personal pickups. Looks pretty slim here on the show notes. What do you got, Troy?
Nothing.
Me neither. Bill, we're counting on you, bud.
I didn't
Yeah.
get anything. Oh, I sent you
Yes,
something.
you
didn't I?
do. We
Yeah,
got
all right. Fire it up there, Troy.
Oh, that's right. Yes. So it's not a hockey card, but it can hold hockey cards. Yeah. So if you're listening on this, I keep saying if you're listening on this with your ears and not watching with your eyes, you're looking at a top loader binder, and it's a different one. So I agree with Troy. It's called the X Pro. Troy, what was it?
X Pro top loader binder.
X Pro top loader binder on Amazon. So that is the better one. So what you're seeing on the screen right now is a rich rarity, and I bought this one. So it's a little cheaper. I think it's $10 cheaper, and the quality is a considerable amount cheaper. The reason I bought
Really?
this is because it has, well, if I bought this first and I never bought the X Pro, I would be very, very happy. I'm still happy. I'm just not very happy.
Yeah.
The reason I bought this is because it holds 350.
Oh, more. Okay.
Yeah, it holds 350, and I'm personally trying to complete the Parkhurst Champions entire collection now. So if you're watching, well, that's just the one page. So I have all my color variants in there, and I can put the whole set. So this is all. So it's up to 325, and I just have them going right. So I already did it this morning, so it's all ready to be filled in, and that was my pickup this week. Yeah, I love it. It's makes me so happy doing it at home.
Oh,
I think Phil. I think you knocked your.
you unplugged your mic.
I hit my hand talker. Yeah.
You got so excited about there. Well, it's sort of a hockey pickup. No, I'm actually working on something. I'm scheming, making kind of a bigger purchase for Phil to poop on once I get it. So we'll see. We'll see if it happens.
You're not going to show it? I'm trying to see.
No, I haven't got it yet.
Oh, okay. Well, no one cares about something
Plotting.
you didn't do.
Oh, well.
I'm sorry, Josh.
If you like the episode, please leave a rating and review on Apple, Spotify, whatever podcast app you listen to us on. If you love the show, you want to support us, you want to chat with us on the Hockey Cards Gongshow Discord server, please consider a $5 a month donation. Join our $1.99 support level tier on Patreon. Link is in the show description in both the podcast apps and on YouTube. In our Instagram, TikTok profile, you go to our website, hockeycardsgongshow.com, click on the Become a Patron link, or just go to the Patreon website directly. Hey guys, we're on social media. Please follow us on Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, Twitter, and YouTube. And Troy and Phil, the Hockey Cards Gongshow podcast is a production of Dollarbucks Ventures LLC. Have an awesome start to your week, and we'll be back like we always are on Thursday.